फोन आले. अरे
Good morning, everybody. Is my voice audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, all.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Namaste, pranam to all. A very good morning to all those present here today. With the divine blessings of Goddess Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge and wisdom, and the constant encouragement from our patrons of the collaborative institutions, Shri Rajendra Ji Mudak, ex-minister, Government of Maharashtra, and Honorable Secretary, Backward Class Youth Relief Committee, Nagpur, Dr. Bhausab Bhoge, founder of Antodaya Mission, Devgram, Shri Prakash Ji Domke, Honorable Secretary, Jnana Ranjan Bahu Uddeshya Sanstha Parshivni, Honorable Chief Guest and Inaugurator, Dr. Sanjay Thakre, Joint Director of Higher Education, Nagpur region, who due to his preoccupied professional obligations is unable to join us. He may join anytime. Chair for today's inaugural session, Dr. Avinash Badar sir, Vice Principal, KDK College of Engineering, who in the absence of our honorable chief guest will grace the occasion as inaugurator and chief guest for today's inaugural session. Our keynote speaker for today, Dr. K. Mohite. Our keynote speaker for today, Dr. K.C. Mohite, Principal, SSP Mandals, C.T. Bora College, Shirur, Pune, and ex-Dean, Faculty of Science, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. Our resource persons for technical session 1, Honorable Dr. Nitin Lapshetwar, sir, Chief Scientist and Head ERMD Division, CSIR NEERI, that is National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, Nagpur, India. Our resource person for technical session 2, Honorable Dr. Rajendra Pant, Associate Professor, Department of Mathematics and Applied Mathematics, University of Johannesburg, Auckland Park, South Africa. Our resource person for technical session 3, Honorable Dr. Swapnil Dharaskar, Associate Professor and Head Department of Chemical Engineering, School of Technology, Pandit Deen Dayal Energy University, Raisan, Gandhinagar, Gujarat. Our resource person for technical session 4, Mr. Ambarish Ghatate, Director, Manas Ayurved, Nagpur. Honorable Advisory Committee members, conveners, Principal Dr. Joby George sir from Bivapur Mahavidyalaya, Honorable Dr. D.P. Singh sir, KDK College of Engineering, Nagpur, Honorable Dr. A.M. Badar sir from KDK College of Engineering, Honorable Dr. Devendra Bhungare sir from Jeevan Vikas Mahavidyalaya, Devgram, Honorable Dr. George Augustine sir from Sai Baba Arts and Science College, Parsivni, our internal quality assurance cell coordinators, Dr. Prabhakar Khandait sir, Dr. Mangesh Acharya sir, and Assistant Professor Anil Bondre sir. Our organizing secretaries, Dr. Yogesh More sir, Dr. S.P. Wankhede madam, Dr. Kalyani Thakre madam, and Dr. Prashant Ingre sir. Our organizing committee members, our dear delegates from US, Massachusetts, Germany, and Pan India. On behalf of the collaborative institutions, I, Dr. Vinita S. Virgandam, IQAC coordinator and host for the inaugural session of two-day interdisciplinary international conference on reimagining sciences in the wake of National Education Policy 2020, research, dissemination, and skill development. Welcome you all to this wonderful congregation today. It is said, necessity and curiosity is the mother of all inventions. And today, when we are all have gathered here to deliberate upon reimagining sciences, it's a magnanimous responsibility on our shoulders to leave a legacy that our future generations would be able to enjoy the bounty of nature. Human body is said to be made of 5 tattvas, an embodiment of the universe in its minuscule form. Whatever we discover, invent, is to make human life simple, going through the complexities of the universe's make. And to make it easy for our future generations understand science in different perspective, I now invite Dr. Yogesh More, organizing secretary for this two-day interdisciplinary international conference, for his introductory remarks.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Good morning. Today's program, Dr. A.M. Badar sir, Vice Principal of KDK College of Engineering, Nagpur, and Chief Guest for and Joby George sir, Principal of Bivapur Mahavidyalaya, Bivapur. Guest of honor of this inaugural function and the principals of collaborating colleges, collaborating colleges, Dr. Devendra Bongade sir, Principal of Jivan Vikas Mahavidyalaya Devgram, Dr. D.P. Singh sir, Principal of KDK College of Engineering, Nagpur, Dr. George Augustine sir, Principal of Sai Baba Arts and Science College, Parsi. D.P. sir. Dr. K.C. Moik, Dr. Swapnil Daraskar, Dr. Amrish Ghatate, and the IQSC coordinators of all collaborating colleges, Dr. Vinita Virgandam from Bhivapur Mahavidyalaya, Dr. Prabhakar Khandait from KDK College of Engineering, Nagpur, Dr. Mangesh Acharya from Jivan Vikas Mahavidyalaya, from Sai Baba College, Arts and Science College, Parsi. Good morning from all around the world. First of all, I welcome you all in this two-day interdisciplinary international conference of Reimagining Sciences in the wake of NP 2020, Research, Dissemination, and Skill Development. I am feeling very happy to announce this international conference, which we are holding in online format with no audience physically in the room. This was rather a Herculean task for us to organize such an international event within a span of a week. But this was possible because of the constant inspiration of our principal, Dr. Joby George, and the principals of collaborating colleges. So hereafter, for a couple of days, we are going on the way of NEP 2020. It was very surprising to have a discussion for this national topic on an international platform. But it is very important indeed of the is bound to affect with the fabulous outcome in the substantiating societies at large, nation in particular. Dr. K.C. Moik. So talking about the conduction of this conference is divided into 4 technical sessions for day 1 and day 2. And these are hoping for the in-depth and thorough discussion ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, it lets me once again thanks for all our fantastic speakers and guests for giving their valuable time and insight today. And I hope all of you watching enjoy the conference. Thank you very much. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Yogesh More, for that wonderful introductory remarks. I now request our principal and convener, Dr. Joby George sir, Principal Bhivapur Mahavidyalaya, to address the congregation with his welcome note. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. A nice good morning to all. At the outset of the inaugural function of the 2 days multidisciplinary international conference on the reimagining sciences in the wake of NEP 2020, Research, Dissemination and Skill Development, organized by the IQSC chapter of Bhivapur Mahavidyalaya, under the auspices of Jeevan Vikas Mahavidyalaya Devagram, Narket, KDK College of Engineering, Nagpur, and Sai Baba Arts and Science College, Parshuni, Nagpur. It is my pleasure and privilege to welcome the chief patrons of this multidisciplinary international conference, Honorable Rajendraji Bhausap Mulak Sahab, former Minister, Government of Maharashtra, and the Secretary of BCYRC Nagpur, Honorable Dr. Bahu Sahab Boge Sahab, the founder president of Andodya Mission Devgram, and Honorable Sri Prakash Ji Dhomke Sahab, the Secretary of Dhyanaranjan Krida Bahudeshiya Samstha Parshuni Nagpur. At the outset of the inaugural function of the 2 days multidisciplinary international conference, we are again honored by the graceful, phenomenal, and august presence of our chief guest and inaugurator, Honorable Joint Director of Higher Education, Nagpur Region, Maharashtra State, Dr. Sanjay Thakre sir. I also take this opportunity to roll out a red carpet to welcome to our keynote speakers, namely Dr. K.C. Mohite sir, the principal of SSP Mandal CT Bora College, Sirur, Pune. Honorable Dr. K.C. Mohite sir is the former Dean of Faculty of Science in Savitribai Phule University, Pune. I also welcome Honorable Dr. Nitin Lapchetivar sir, Chief Scientist and Head ERMD Division, CSIR National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, NERI, Nagpur. It is my pleasure to welcome Honorable Dr. Rajendra Pant sir, Associate Professor, Department of Mathematics and Applied Mathematics, University of Johannesburg, Auckland, South Africa. I also welcome Dr. Sapnil Darasarkar, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Chemical Engineering, School of Technology, Pandit Deen Dayal Energy University, Raisen, Gandhinagar, Gujarat. And I welcome Honorable Ambarish Gathate sir, Director of Manas Ayurved, Gathate Layout, Nagpur. At the outset, it is also my pleasure to welcome the conveners and the guests of honor of this multidisciplinary international conference, Honorable Dr. D.P. Singh sir, the principal of KDK College of Engineering, Nagpur, Honorable Dr. Avinash M. Badar sir, the vice principal of KDK College of Engineering, Nagpur, Honorable Dr. Devendra Ji Bongade sir, the principal of Jeevan Vikas Mahavidyalaya Devagram, and Honorable Dr. George Augustine, the principal of Sai Baba Arts and Science College, Parshuni. Being the principal of Bivapur Mahavidyalaya, it is my pleasure to welcome all the IQC coordinators of the host institutions, Honorable Dr. Prabhagar Khandait sir from KDK College of Engineering, Honorable Dr. Mangesh Acharya sir from Jeevan Vikas Mahavidyalaya Devagram, Honorable Dr. Anil Bondre sir from Sai Baba Arts and Science College, Parshuni, and Honorable Dr. Vinada S. Gurkendam from Bivapur Mahavidyalaya. It is my pleasure to invite the organizing secretaries of this multidisciplinary international conference, Dr. Yogesh Mori sir from Bivapur Mahavidyalaya, Honorable Dr. S.P. Wankhede Madam, Head Department of Physics, KDK College of Engineering, Nagpur, Honorable Dr. Kalyani Thakre Madam, Head Department of Mathematics, Jeevan Vikas Mahavidyalaya Devagram, Narket, and Honorable Dr. Prashant Inklesar, Head Department of Zoology, Sai Baba Arts and Commerce College, Parshuni. I thank and welcome all the members of the organizing committee, respected principals, delegates, and research colleagues, staff from my college, and also from the associate colleges, research scholars, and dear students for being a part of this multidisciplinary international conference. We assure you that we will come with more such programs on faculty development, training programs for the teaching and the non-teaching staff, and workshops for the administrative staff, and more educational collaborative activities for the faculties and students. Finally, I thank my IQC coordinator, Dr. S. Burgandam, for coordinating this multidisciplinary international conference. The entire education system in the country today undergoes a series of changes. At this stage, it becomes imperative to reassess our stance in preparing a more resourceful youth so as to transform our country a better place to live in. The very necessity to acclimatize our faculties to the changing scenario in the era of global competence is inevitable. The new education policy highlights and proposes core values and ethics to be followed by teachers and students alike. Multidisciplinary and holistic development with collaboration at all the levels of imparting knowledge is a must. Human values like compassion, high regard for fellow human beings, a better hygiene, courtesy, democratic accents, unyielding acumen for service, awareness towards one's own duties and rights, scientific temper, and many such values play pivotal roles in shaping a student for life. In fact, the much debated upon 2 days multidisciplinary international conference on reimagining sciences in the wake of NEP 2020 research, dissemination, and skill development, I do believe would open new vistas in the areas of professional ethics, human values, research, dissemination, and skill development in higher educational institutions. It is so vast a subject that we really need a thorough and microscopic analysis so as to reach a logistic conclusion. I'm hopeful that the imminent deliberations of our eminent keynote speakers would lead to serious academic discussions and would also emanate ripples in the hearts of our dear delegates and research colleagues. I wish all the best for the grand success of this event. Thank you so much and have a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those wonderful remarks of the welcome note. And now, as we have already discussed on the non-availability of our chief guest and inaugurator, I now request Dr. Avinash Badar sir to inaugurate 2-day interdisciplinary international conference on reimagining sciences in the wake of National Education Policy 2020, research, dissemination, and skill development. And may we have you here, sir? I request the technical team to pin Dr. Badar sir to the main screen. Thank you. Before we move ahead, I would like to introduce Dr. Avinash Badar sir to our audience present online. Dr. Badar sir has completed his BE Civil Engineering, ME Water Resource Development and Irrigation Council from Government Engineering College, Raipur, and he's completed his doctoral research in Hydraulic Engineering, VNIT, Nagpur. He is currently the Vice Principal of KDK College of Engineering, and sir has to his credit the award for outstanding performance in his service to the college. Sir has published almost 55 research papers in international, national, and reputed journals. And sir has attended almost, the number is huge, it's 65 conferences, and has organized more than 60 conferences. Not the exhaustive list to read is difficult, but let me just summarize it for you. Sir has worked as a capacity of vice principal since 20 years, and he still continues to do so. He's completed his PhD from Vishwesvaraya National Institute of Technology, has attended many conferences and seminars, and has worked hard to upgrade and evolve in the latest technological developments and advancement in the education fraternity. Sir has published technical papers in many conferences, and he has a membership with professional bodies like Institution of Engineers, Indian Society for Technical Education, Indian Society of Hydraulics, and has been associated with the university, the affiliated university, as a faculty member in Board of Studies on Civil Engineering and Technology. He is a member of the Local Inquiry Committee, member of the interview committees. He is a part of the moderation committee, theory papers. He's a setter, valuer, and a research supervisor for research scholars in civil engineering. Sir is associated with the professional bodies, a fellow of Institution of Engineers, FIE, life member of Indian Society for Technical Education, ISTE, life member of Indian Society for Hydraulics, ISH, Pune, life member of Indian Water Resources Society, Roorkee, UK, India, IWRS, and life member of Indian Concrete Institute, ICI. We welcome you, sir, and we request you to grace the occasion as the inaugurator for this 2A Interdisciplinary International Conference.
Thank you, madam. Good morning to all of you. Two-day Interdisciplinary International Conference on Reimagining Science in the Wake of NEP 2020, Research Dissemination and Skill Development, IICRSN. First of all, as a chief guest, I declare that conference is inaugurated. And on this occasion, first of all, I congratulate Joby Josh sir, Principal, Bihapur Mahavidyalaya, Bihapur, our college principal, Dr. D.P. Singh sir, Dr. Devendra Bhongade sir, Principal, Jivan Vikas Mahavidyalaya, Devgram, Dr. George Austin sir, Principal, Sai Baba Arts and Science College, Parshoni, our patrons, Sri Rajendra Mulak sir, ex-minister, Government of Maharashtra, Honorable Secretary, BCOIRC, Nagpur, Dr. Bhausaheb Bhoge sir, Founder President, Antodaya Mission, Devgram, Sri Prakash Dumki sir, Secretary, Dhyanranjan Krida Bahudeshiya Sanstha, Parshoni, and all the IQC coordinators, all the speakers for this conference. I congratulate all of you for organization of such a wonderful conference. Regarding NEP 2020, we have seen CBS syllabus, CBCS syllabus now. We have seen a semester pattern. We have earlier, we were in yearly mode, yearly pattern of the examination. Now in NEP 2020, there are a lot of changes is going to happen. A big change is any student is able to take any subject of any branch. For example, I would like to learn music. I am able to take one paper on this. And what is the benefit of all these things? I would like to share my experience. Recently, during Corona, faculties were somewhat free as compared to a tight schedule. Our faculty have developed a lots of machine, packaging machine, any product manufactured, if you want to pack him by wrapping a plastic, our faculty developed this machine in our college. I am happy that persons from electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and other branches also came together, shared their ideas, and successfully developed this machine. This is going to happen in NEP 2020. Any branch student is able to take any elective. For example, if civil engineering students want to learn a Python, it is possible now. And what is the benefit to the nation? Now our students are able to enter in any field. One of our students of civil engineering is got the job in Google Map. This is the benefit we are going to get when we adopt NEP 2020. Again, if we go, we have developed other machines like oxygen concentrator, spoon making machine, that from a bamboo, our faculty develop a machine to develop the spoon. As an engineering college, we adopted the technology. Where our college had 150 kilos and we are having a gas to prepare from the kitchen waste. We are having manure vermicompost plant and so on. So this is the benefit of the NEP. When we adopt, definitely we are going to be benefited. In addition to this, AICT providing the internship program, and we will participate in internship program. And due to which our students are getting the internship all over online. So these are the benefits when we adopt this system, and definitely we are going to benefit it. My best wishes to all the participants, and if one college is able to make so many machines, definitely if all the college participate in such manner to the nation, definitely it is going to benefit to the nation. And such types of conferences, when we interacted with the faculty members of other colleges, our output is going to be benefited to the nation. With all the best to all the participants, all the speakers, all the principal. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Avinash Badar sir, for those wonderful inaugural speech, and we thank you for inaugurating this two-day interdisciplinary international seminar. And with your permission, also as a chair for the inaugural session, with your permission, sir, I would like to introduce our guests of honor. We have with us today Dr. D.P. Singh sir, principal of KDK College of Engineering. And on this occasion, it is such a coincidence that sir is retiring today, and he's completed his 40 years of experience as an educationist and 20 years as a principal of the college. We welcome you, sir, on board, and we are highly honored to have you with us today. We have also with us Dr. Devendra Bhongare, sir, principal of Jeevan Vikas Mahavidyalaya, Devgram. And with the permission of the chair, I would just like to introduce him to our audience. Dr. Devendra Bhongare has completed his MSc, MLISC, that is Masters in Library Sciences, MPhil, MBA, and PhD. His teaching experiences reaches beyond 22 years, and his experience as a principal is more than 12 years. His abroad visits in the capacity of an educationist to Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Thailand is a feather in his cap, and he has to his credit 3 books and many research publications in national, international, and UGC care-listed journals. He has completed his major and minor research projects funded by UGC and IEEE. Sir is a member of professional academic bodies, and under his supervision, the institution has completed 2 NAAC accreditation cycles, and sir is a PhD supervisor, and under his supervision, 4 research scholars have been awarded doctoral degrees. 2 students have still undergoing their research, and 5 theses have been evaluated by him, and he is also an MPhil guide. Sir has organized faculty development programs which go beyond 24 in number. That's a huge number. Am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And his seminar and
Yes, ma'am.
conferences, which he has organized, is 38, workshops are 28, and he has chaired conferences, national and international as well. And moreover, his interest includes social work and for the upliftment of his village, that is Devgram, where the college is located. We welcome you, sir, on board. I now, with the permission of the chair, would like to introduce our next guest of honor, Dr. George Augustine, sir, Principal Sai Baba Arts and Science College, Parshivni. Dr. George Augustine has started his career as a lecturer in English in 1988 at Arts and Commerce College, RV. He has the credit of being one of the very few candidates clearing state eligibility test for lecturers when it was started for the first time by the University of Pune as the state agency in 1995. He's been working as a regular principal on professor's grade approved by RTMNU since 2009. And during these 14 years, he worked as a regular principal of R.S. Bidkar Arts, Commerce and Science College, Hingangat, Sri Niketan Arts and Commerce College, Reshambagh, Nagpur, and Kumbhalkar Social Work Evening College, Ganeshpet, Nagpur. He is an approved research guide of RTMNU, that is Rashtrasant Tukaroji Maharaj Nagpur University, and 2 scholars have been awarded doctoral degrees under his supervision. He has published a book and many research papers in peer-reviewed journals of national and international repute with a good impact factor. He is presently working as a regular principal of Sai Baba Arts and Science College, Parshivni, affiliated to Rashtrasant Tukaroji Maharaj Nagpur University. We welcome you on board, sir. And with the permission of the chair, I would now like to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. K.C. Mohite, sir, to all our audience who are present online with us. May I request the technical team to please print Dr. K.C. Mohite. With the permission of the chair, I would like to introduce, sir, to all our audience. Dr. Mohite is working in the field of renewable energy resource and material science in last 28 years. He's completed his master's in physics in collaboration with Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai, and PhD in physics at School of Energy Studies, SP Pune University. He was instrumental in developing first offshore campus and shouldered the responsibility as a founder director of University of Pune branch campus at Ras Al Khaimah, UAE. He has developed research collaborations with national and international institutes from France, Japan, USA, South Africa, China, and UAE in the field of material science and renewable energy sources. He has shouldered the responsibility as a Dean Science faculty during the period from 2011 to 2015 and was a member of the Academic Council and has been a chairman of BOS in Physics and Sustainable Development of Savitribai Phule Pune University. He has been a principal of PGK Mandal's Haribai V. Desai College during 2011 to May 2014. Presently, he is holding the responsibility as the principal of Chandmal Tarachand Bora College, Shirur, Pune. He has a wide experience of assessment and accreditation of colleges and universities in various capacities. He has, to his credit, more than 100 research papers in reputed international journals and conference proceedings. He has, to his credit, 5 reference books, 6 textbooks, and more than 150 articles in newspapers and magazines, 10 radio talks, 50 invited talks. He has given more than 150 popular lectures on innovations in science and energy subjects at school, colleges, and remote places. He has actively participated in science popularization programs organized by Government of India and other non-governmental organizations. Dr. Mohite has made a unique and significant contribution in promoting the research culture among students and teachers of colleges and universities across various disciplines through state-level research project competition Avishkar. He worked as a coordinator for national state-level research project competitions Anveshan and Avishkar at SP Pune University and won overall championship trophy for 3 consecutive years and made a hat trick. Sir holds one more credit in the record that I'm mentioning to all of you. He is a member of New Education Policy Implementation Committee appointed by Government of Maharashtra. Sir Sir has been nominated for Pro Vice Chancellor's position of Sir Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded during 2016-17. He is a recipient of C.V. Raman Best Teacher Award in Physics by IPA Bhabha Atomic Research Center, BARC, that is, and 2 research awards by SPIE Institute and ICMCTF organization from USA. He is also honored with Excellence in Education National Award by AICTE, MNRE, and MSME, Government of India in 2014 for contribution in bridging the gap between academia, research and development, and industry. So, with the permission of our keynote speaker, Dr. Mohite sir, the more I read, the more it is adding to the CV. It's exhaustive, it's lengthy, and I feel myself dwarfed when I read this. And I think without wasting our time more, I would now request our keynote speaker, Dr. K.C. Mohite, to please take over so that we would be able to listen to you more. Over to you, sir.
Yeah,
and
thank
we
you.
welcome you.
Yeah. Thank you, Vinita madam. I'm really overwhelmed rather for listening my all details. Thank you very much for this introduction. First of all, I would like to congratulate and appreciate the efforts taken by colleges. 3 colleges I see over here. One is, of course, host colleges, Vivapur Mahavidyalaya, then Jivan Vikas Mahavidyalaya, KDK College of Engineering, Sai Baba Arts and Science College. And actually, it's a great honor, in fact, to be a keynote speaker for this international conference on a very important topic. I am sharing my slides. I hope you are able to see it. Yeah, can you see it, madam? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. Thank you.
The slides are visible, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Principal of this college, Dr. Joby George, then principal of the KDK College of Engineering, Dr. D.P. Singh, then vice principal of the KDK College of Engineering, who just inaugurated this conference, Dr. A.M. Badar, Dr. Devendra Bongle, Dr. George Augustine, principal of the Sai Baba Arts and Science College, Paswani. Then we have other dignitaries as well. Dr. Revatkar is also there, who is the one of the resource person for this conference. I would like to start my presentation. I hope you can see it. Basically, I thought that research and collaborations are very important in higher education, and which has given a very good importance in this national education policy as well. And since I was, in fact, I am member of one of the committee, and we tried our best, in fact, to make a report. So as far as is concerned, as we all know that the technological revolutions of the 21st century are emerging from entirely new sectors based on microprocessors, telecommunications, biotechnology, nanotechnology, and so on. And products are transforming business practices across the economy as well as the lives of all who have access to their effects. Science and technology are key drivers to development of any nation, as we all know, because technological and scientific revolutions underpin economic advances, improvements in health systems, education, and infrastructure. Innovation is important not only for high-tech sectors, but also manufacturing, aerospace, clean energy, and the life sciences. Innovation can play an important role in meeting many of the most important goals we have as a nation. It is pivotal to providing all with longer, healthier lives, fighting global warming, maintaining a strong defense at home and abroad, expanding access to high quality education, and training and making government more open and efficient. So I would like to highlight some of the points. In fact, before going to actual new education policy, research and innovation, I would like to, highlight some of the important aspects. As we all know, Human Development Index As we all know that since this index was first launched in 1990 and has been released annually ever since with the exceptions of 2012 and 2021. But HDI is very important since it takes many aspects and where we are actually, where is that particular country, overall development of the nation. You can see through this Human Development Index. And as far as the HDI of India and its comparison with other countries is concerned, as you can see the top 10 countries, Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, Hong Kong, Australia, Denmark, Sweden, Ireland, Germany, Netherlands. They are the top most countries in the overall development of nation, whether what kind of quality, education is there, whether we are getting a food for 2 times, everyone is getting a food or not, how much is what kind of system we have for transportation, and many aspects, women's education, jobs, many aspects are covered in this particular HDI. And I'm very sorry to say that since, I'm last decade, in fact, every year I see our progress in the HDI, and unfortunately it is not progressing. As you can see that we are not at all doing good. And as far as the total number of countries are concerned, around 200 countries are there, and our number is 132 or 133. So it is not a good sign. And our neighbors, in fact, Sri Lanka is doing better, China is doing better, Bhutan, Bangladesh are behind. I mean, they are also doing better, it seems. So it means that Pakistan and a few countries, neighbors, in fact, they are behind us. Otherwise, we see that we're not doing at all good in the HDI. And I think in national education policy, many aspects are covered. Overall development, in fact, is one of the major aspect. So transforming school education, basically it is starting with the school education itself, ensuring universal access at all levels of school education, early childhood care and education with new curricular and pedagogical structures. 10 plus 2 is now replaced by 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Curricular structure is ages 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14, 14 to 18 years, and so on. So attaining foundational literacy and numeracy, reforms in school curricula and pedagogies, multilingualism and the power of language is also been given importance. Equitable and inclusive education, robust teacher recruitment and career path, school governance, standard setting and accreditation for school education. That is also very important. Right now, we have accreditation for higher HEIs, like higher education institutes, but there is no accreditation for schools or junior colleges. I think that is a very important aspect now. Transforming higher education, increase GR by 50%, of course, to 50% by 2035. That is one of the main reasons why this policy has been, revised. Holistic multidisciplinary education, and I'm happy that this today's conference is also on multidisciplinary aspect. Skill development, internships, placements, multi-entry, multi-exit approach. It's a new kind of approach, and it is not easy, in fact, to implement. Value education.
बरोबर आहे.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Sir, continue, sir, please.
Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hello. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
So,
sir.
okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, holistic multidisciplinary education, as I just talked about. For example, like certificate after 1 year, advanced diploma after 2 years, bachelor degree after 3 years, and of course, bachelor's with research after 4 years. So, now education, now it is 3 years, now it will become 4 years, and so on. So, rationalize the institutional architecture, other provisions for transformation of educational sector. Teachers' education is very important, that has been taken care. Mentoring mission is also important and it has been taken care. financial support for students, professional education, adult education, financing education, open and distance learning. Then these some of the points, they are been taken care in this new policy. So Higher Education Commission, as we all know, will be set up as a single overreaching umbrella body for the entire higher education, excluding medical and legal education. So there are, 4 independent verticals: National Higher Education Regulatory Council for regulation, General Education Council for standard setting, Higher Education Grants Council for funding, and National Accreditation Council (NAC) for accreditation. HECI will function through faceless intervention through technology and will have powers to penalize HEIs not conforming to norms and standards. Public and private higher education institutions will be governed by the same set of norms for regulation, accreditation, and academic standards. So these are some of the points, in fact, but I would like to, move to research basically. So teacher education, as we all know, that since right now for higher education, basically, once you have completed masters, then you become a teacher in colleges, and without any kind of education or any kind of training. I think that is very important aspect which has been taken care. Mentoring mission, financial support also will be there for different students from different categories as well. So as far as the research is concerned, see, the future is going to be a knowledge-based economy, and over the past decade, new dynamics have emerged in each of the key domains of higher education, research, and innovation. So it is important to inculcate research culture among students of undergraduate and postgraduate programs across all disciplines. And I'm very happy that I was a part of this Avishkar. Basically, I was one of the founder member of this Avishkar, and even the Anveshan at national level. I was the first convener of this Anveshan National Convention at University of Pune itself. So actually, basically, this will not only help them to encourage their original and novel thinking, but also will provide an opportunity for expression of their academic talent. The key is to approach creativity. Preaching science pedagogically does not help. Teachers should go beyond the obvious and make the students reason every single theory and principle. See, as far as the higher education, as we all know, since as far as the ranking of universities are concerned, we are not at all in first 100 or first 200, and that is also worry for each and everyone, those who are working in higher education. At the same time, as far as research is concerned, we are doing better, we can say. Number of research publications, quality publications, patents, startups, now it has been started. If you look at the waves of innovation, then you will realize that the first wave, it started with iron, water, power, then mechanization, textiles, commerce. Second wave, which in fact it was steam power, railroad, steel, cotton, up to almost 1900. Then later on, it started electricity, chemicals, internal combustion engines around 1900, as you can see in the picture. Then, of course, around from 1950, petrochemicals, electronics, aviation, space. That was the fourth wave of innovation. Then actually fifth wave, digital networks, biotechnology, software, information technology. In fact, we used to call it as ITBT in 1990s, as we saw that that wave was there, ITBT. But now if you look at 2020 and beyond, you'll find that each and everyone, whether he is from science or commerce or arts or medical, engineering, whatever it is, but you'll have to, each and everyone will have to work in a sustainable development. So sustainability is now the sixth wave, and I don't think that it will end very soon. It will take a long time. In fact, it will continue for a long time rather. So each and every renewable energy, green technologies, green chemistry, many aspects, in fact, we will have to take care in this particular next wave, sixth wave. So what are the challenges in front of us, like environment, climate change, food security, food crisis, starvation, etc., water security, since we are not getting a clean water for drinking water, humanities, discriminations, energy security, fossil fuels and renewables, health, hygiene, medication, cyber security, transportation, growth, employment, and natural resource sustainability. These are, these are the areas, these are some of the areas, in fact, not all, where in fact we need to work, we need to focus. Uh, what is invention or innovation? Like, what is desirable to users? What is possible with technology? What is viable in the marketplace? That is what we call it as innovation. So invention, in fact, any idea, in fact, if you want to convert into invention, then we have to put a cash. But once you have idea, and if you go for innovation, then definitely from that idea you can get a cash. But it is not that direct idea, you can directly go for innovation. We have to go through invention path. So process of invention is from idea to invention and invention to innovation. But idea directly cannot be taken as innovation. And I think here we are missing a bus, since if you look at our invention and innovation, you'll find that we are doing good in research. Maybe we are doing good in invention, but innovation is not a cup of tea of our higher education institutions. That is what I think, that is the main worry in front of all. So these are the greatest innovators of all time. And if you look at the research to product stages, why I'm talking like this, since research, study, investigate theories, then we go for prototypes, testing of the what you have done, test research, models, building, and so on. Then marketing, further development, pre-production models, package technology, marketing and licensing, technology launch, and then of course we go for commercial success. That is what the innovation I am talking about. So it takes a long time. It is not an easy task, and not a single person or two people or number of people. It leads on many people to really get a success in the innovations. So as far as the Global Innovation Index is concerned, as you can see that it's a 15th edition this year, 2022. And since actually basically it started with 2007, there in fact we are not doing good. But right now, since last 5 years, we are doing good. In fact, we are progressing, as you can see. These are the top 10 countries global ranking. What innovation means, whatever the research is, the very activities, invention is happening in the country, whether that is converted into innovation or not. That is what the Global Innovation Index or ranking is. So Switzerland is number one. In the last year also it was number one, now also number one. United States, earlier it was 3 number, now it is 1. No, number 2 now. Sweden, it was 2, now it has went to 3rd. United Kingdom, they have maintained their place. Netherlands, they were 6, now they are 5. Republic of Korea were 5, now it is 6. Singapore was 8, now it is 7. Germany was 10, now it is 8. Finland was 7 and now 9. Denmark was 9 and now it is 10. So these are the first 10 countries. You can see that all the countries, these are the only countries, in fact, in the first 10 countries. Then China, France, Japan, Hong Kong, Canada, Israel, Austria, Estonia, Iceland, and so on. As far as India is concerned, we were in 81 in 2015, and now we have reached to 40. So last, for 6-7 years, we have really, come up, very positively. That is a good sign, but still there is a long way to go. In fact, unless and until we come in a first 10, it means that we are not able to convert our technologies, invention, research into innovation. So the research, in fact, whatever the research is happening, whether that research is useful to a common man or not. And I think as we all know, that is one of the reasons why Einstein was not getting a Nobel Prize for almost 11-12 years, since his very fascinating paper was on relativity. However, committee felt that what is the use of this relativity to a common man? And that was one of the reasons why he was not giving, committee was not of the opinion to give a Nobel Prize to Einstein. So there were many discussions, controversies, this and that. And then ultimately Einstein got a Nobel Prize, not for relativity, but he got a Nobel Prize for photoelectric effect. That will be definitely useful for a society. That is what the committee felt. So it means that whatever research is happening, whatever inventions are there, it should be they should be useful to a common man, and that is one of the important aspects. And for this, in fact, what we did is academic, research, and industry interactions. University industry collaborations have been largely met with skepticism and resistance from faculty critics who are concerned about the academy adopting market-like behaviors and relying too heavily on industry. So what we do, in fact, the Indian universities, of course, there are some exceptions. However, we are not working on the same platform. Like universities in the top 10 in universities, which I was talking about, the GII, that is the Global Innovation Index. These countries, their academics, research, and industry, they are working on the same platform. Like for example, any university or any industry want to go for a new product, then that particular industry, what they do, like they identify one research institution, and they try to have collaboration with that research institution. And collaboration is not like what we do. Basically, we do for knack purpose. Like we send one letter and you get other letter from other university or some institutes, and then we have a collaboration. But whether that collaboration is functional or not, in fact, what they do is like they have a very concrete kind of collaboration. Like what kind of manpower will be required, engineers or scientists, whatever it is, technical person, non-technical persons, land, equipments, instruments, then every infrastructure, all kind of infrastructure, that has been taken care. And not only that, they sit together, they discuss a lot, and they come up with a product. And whatever the product, during the research on this particular product, they involve their faculty and even their research students, and not only research students, but even MS students, master students, even BS students also, bachelor students. So it means that the academics, research, and industry, they work on the same platform. And that is one of the very important aspects, that why these universities are doing good and why we are not able to get innovation in our country. And that is also one of the reasons that why we are not getting a Nobel prizes. Like Marconi got a Nobel Prize for radio, but our Jagdish Bose, in fact, he invented it, but he could not convert it into innovation. That was one of the reasons. So I think there actually we have a tremendous scope. Innovation is one of the very important aspect. We should go for it. And fortunately, government of India, our great Prime Minister, they have started startup kind of culture. I think that will be definitely helpful in a next decade or some maybe a 5 years or 10 years. Definitely we'll do better. That is what it seems. So university collaborations, dual degree, double degree, joint degree. In fact, we didn't have that kind of aspect, but now last few years this has been started. I remember when I had visited Japan, one of my student is there in scientist, Tokushima University, and I had led a delegation of universities and institutes, vice chancellors and directors when I was dean. So that time I discussed with that vice chancellors that why don't you prefer Indian students? And that was one of the reasons. They said that the China, Korea, their policies are like that. We can have a double degree or dual degree, joint degree. But Indian universities, once a student get a degree in Japan, then whether that degree is recognized in India or not, that is a big question. I still remember when I was a dean, one case had come to me that one student had done his PhD in Taiwan University and in physics itself, and his papers were published in a very high impact journals like 5, 9, 10, something like that. And still he was not given, in fact, he got selected over here as an assistant professor, but the government was not giving approval, and they were not starting his salary. Almost 6 months, 1.5 year. And in fact, he was literally crying. He came to me once and he said that, sir, whatever the money I had, I spent with my family, my mother, father. Now I don't have any kind of source. And how to, continue or staying over here? So he was totally fed up. Then, in fact, I asked the government officials why we can't give his salary. See, they said that we have doubt about his degree. Then I said that you should do something in this regard. Then they sent a letter to our university and to see that whether the degree is at par or not. It was given to our vice chancellor, and as we all know that any vice chancellor will not sign on such a letter, or they will not give any certificate. Ultimately, it came to dean, to me, and then I thought that why we are delaying in giving the approval to this student, this candidate. Then in fact I studied that aspect, and I found that that university was in the first 100 in the world ranking. That was number one. Number two, we have actually Association of Indian Universities, and that university was a part of it. And we had also collaboration with our CSR, Department of Science and Technology, with that university. And that papers were published in a very high reputed journals. So I strongly recommended, and then actually he got his salary after 2-3 months. So that was the case. Now the dual degree, double degree, joint degree, now UGC has started. I think that is one of the very important aspect. Then Indian universities, campus to foreign countries or foreign universities, they are coming to India. I think that is also very important aspect. Both the things, in fact, not only that foreign universities will come to India, but our universities also should go to foreign countries. In fact, I have a very good experience. I was appointed as a director of our offshore campus in Dubai. University of Pune's offshore campus was there. So I had a very good experience over there. And I found that in spite of having such a academicians, so many programs in university or Pune University, but still at international level, for them, like Symbiosis was #1 university, or other universities were, ESP Jain University, but they did not know like what is a Pune University. So I had to take a lot of, efforts, to get aware that what is Pune University, what kind of programs are there, and so on. So what I want to say is that that is also very important aspect, that our university also should go to other universities like foreign countries. Foreign universities, India, like already it has been said by our UGC chairman that this is one of the policy now. And of course, the procedure for university coming to India, of course, we need to see the credibility of the institution, programs to be offered by the institution, their potential to strengthen academic opportunities in India, and so on. Of course, there are some benefits, of course, as you can see. I'll not take much time. I know that we are little late. So industry and why universities should work with industry, that is one of the important 5 reasons what I found. Basically complementary skills. That's like, for example, we are good in theory and industry people are good in practicals, projects. I think we should come together. Social impact is there. Otherwise, every institution has been asked that what is your contribution for society, and we directly cannot do it. So unless and until industry comes with, like, water, for example, clean water, provision of clean water, or whatever it is, we need industry. Funding, definitely we require funding from industries. Economic development will be definitely there once we work together. And ultimately student success, the ultimate, our aim is our employment to our students. So how many students get employment? Maybe initially, like, we can have internship programs, maybe visit to industries, and later on, of course, if they find that our students are doing good, definitely they will get employment over there in the industry. So these are some of the aspects which I talked about. yeah, these are some of the aspects as I just thought to share with you. Partnering with industry is the only way to win the big awards. Industry funding is an important piece of funding puzzle. Joint employment between universities and industry partners is another way to increase funding. Economic development, as we know that the process of creating and utilizing physical, human, financial, and social assets to generate improved and broadly shared economic well-being and quality of life for community or region. Public research universities are engaged in their communities and regions, tackling a societal challenge, creating great places to work and live, and advancing economic growth and prosperity. Uh, so economic development and ultimately student success, which I was talking about. One of the primary purpose of higher education is preparing students for career success. So students working within a corporate lab have new experiences. Students attending guest lectures of corporate partners, increased career opportunities often through internships. So these are some of the ways of collaborating with industry helps with student success. Uh, National Research Foundation, in fact, is there, and which is going to take care of the all the research going on and what are the issues in research. As we all know, for example, UGC was funding for research. Now almost it has been stopped. But the what were the issues? Like for example, if you look at the projects, research projects in our college or even in our university, you'll find that there are a lot of repetitions of the projects. Even titles also sometimes may be same. And if you look at the state level, then you will find that the maybe 10, 15, 50 or so similar projects will be there. If you look at the national level, hundreds of projects of same title, same aims and objectives you'll find. So I think that is one of the reasons why we should have some body who will really go through all the research projects and whether they are doing different or the same things, and ultimately what is the output of these projects. And for that, actually, NRF has been established. So fund competitive peer-reviewed grant proposals of all types and across all disciplines, seed, grow, and facilitate research at academic institutions, particularly at universities and colleges, where research is currently in a nascent stage through mentoring of such institutions, act as a liaison between researchers and relevant branches of government as well as industry so that research scholars are constantly made aware of the most urgent national research issues so that the policymakers are constantly made aware of the latest research breakthroughs so as to allow breakthroughs to be optimally brought into policy and or implementation, and of course recognize outstanding research and progress. That is what actually there are some of the highlights of the NRF. I am not going to into the details of all since it is already on a website. So these are some of the aspects. Of course, what are the opportunities? Higher education can play an effective role in preserving the rich historical and cultural heritage of the country. Higher education should play a role in eradication of social problems, disloyal traditions, caste discrimination, religious discrimination, then regionalism, etc. That the ability to create selfless national servants for the benefit of the country should be created through higher education. There should be supplementary education system uh, through higher education for environment protection, water conservation, and agricultural development. Effective inculcation of values like national integration, social equality, harmony, etc. Higher education has ability to produce public teachers or lok shikshaks and public servants along with scholars and experts in various fields. In India, the rural areas where around 65% of the people live, higher education should play a significant role in social transformation through theoretical and practical knowledge. Higher education sector has a lot of scope to work for universal diffusion of scientific ideas and technology. So these are some of the points which I thought to share. So industry professionals now can be a professor of practice. I think this very good move as far as since we are facing a lot of issues, since we all are, all teachers are theoretical teachers. They do not experience of actual working in industry or any corporate. But I think this is one of the very important aspect that persons from industry or corporate they can join as a teacher community with us, I think that will be definitely act as a catalyst in our education system. So I think these are some of the glimpses where I had been to South Africa for MOU signing. I had given us some keynote address over there. This was the actually one of the very important step we took. It was a national workshop with industry itself, industry institute linkages. Ranjangaon industry is one of the leading industry in this area. We have many companies like LG, Tata companies there. Many companies are there, multinational companies are there. So we had been there, and a whole day we spent with industry, and we also we try to understand what are their views about our colleges, faculty and students and so on. Yeah, actually I am also involved in the HK Firodia Foundation Award. Every year actually award is given to a top scientist. Like first award was given to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, then Vijay Bhatkar, Mashelkar and so on. So now they are on the bodies. I am also one of the member of the advisory body. And so we have a academy and industry interaction. We do meet once in a month or twice in a month or something like that. And we try to see that what kind of what kind of projects can be initiated with industry, with the educational institutes, universities, and so on. So thank you very much for patience and listening. Some of the of course, if you would like to interact or any questions, you are welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. K.C. Moitti, sir, for that wonderful information that you have shared with us. And we look forward to connect with you on various aspects of education, science, research, and skill development, linkages, and eventually these turning into entrepreneurship development for our students. And basically, it resonates with the theme, today's theme, and we are really thankful for your keynote address. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Sir. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. All the best.
It was pleasure having you, sir, with us today.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Thank you.
So, yeah. I request our technical team to please stop the slide share of Dr. K.C. Moitti, sir, so that we proceed with the further.
Yeah,
okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Can I take a leave? Yeah. I have
sure, sir. After.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes,
thank
sir.
You.
Please, sir.
Thank
please.
You. Thank
please.
You. Thank you. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Thank you. Namaste.
Yeah.
We have with us Dr. S.B. Revatkar, sir, and Dr. R.R. Patil, sir, as the chairpersons for technical sessions 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are scheduled to be happening after this keynote addresses vote of thanks. We welcome you on board, sir, Dr. S.B. Revatkar, sir, and Dr. R.R. Patil, sir. Thank you. And I now request Dr. Rahil Qureshi, sir, to propose a formal vote of thanks for the inaugural session. Over to you, sir.
Oh. Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, friends. We are in the concluding stage of the inaugural session of two-day interdisciplinary conference, international conference. I am Dr. Rahil Qureshi, Assistant Professor of English, Bihapur Mahavidyalaya, Bihapur. I am here to propose vote of thanks for this inaugural session. First of all, I would like to pay my sincere gratitude to Dr. A.M. Badar, sir, for gracing the occasion as a chief guest and inaugurator of this conference. I am also thankful to Dr. Sanjay Thakre, Joint Director, Higher Education, Nagpur Division, Nagpur, although he is unable to join the event presently due to some preoccupied engagement. I am thankful to Dr. Jovi George, sir, Principal of Bihapur Mahavidyalaya, Bihapur, for taking initiative to organize this conference. I am also indebted to our guest of honor, Dr. D.P. Singh, Principal,
of KDK College of Engineering, Nagpur, Dr. Devendra Bhongade sir, Principal of Jeevan Vikas Mahavidyalay, Devagram, and Dr. George Augustine sir, Principal of Sai Baba Arts and Science College, Parsuni. I am thankful to Dr. K.C. Mohite sir for his informative keynote address. And I am very much indebted to Dr. Vinita Virgandam ma'am, IQAC coordinator, Bihapur Mahavidyalaya, Bihapur, for wonderfully hosting this inaugural session. I am also thankful to Dr. Yogesh More for delivering introductory remarks. I extend my sincere gratitude to all those who directly and indirectly extended their helping hands to make this inaugural event successful. Thank you, one and all. And with the permission of chair, I would like to declare that this inaugural session is over. Now, I would like to hand over the charge of this conference to Dr. Yogesh More for hosting the technical session 1. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. So now we are going to start with the first technical session of this international conference. So good afternoon all. So for this technical session, I would like to invite Dr. S.B. Revatkar sir, former Dean and Faculty of Science and Technology of Gondwana University, Gadchiroli, to chair the session. Now let me briefly introduce our chairperson for this session, Dr. Suresh Revatkar sir. He is having more than 34 years of teaching experience. Currently, he is a member of State Level Implementation Committee of Government of Maharashtra for NAP students, and another 5 students are still pursuing PhD under his able guidance. He has published more than 60 research papers and 10 books in renowned national and international journals. He is granted with a research project and an international patent granted by the Government of Australia. He is the awardee of Sevarth Gaurav Puraskar, Nanded, Teachers Fellowship, Maharashtra Phule State Level Teachers Award, and Ideal Teacher Award by RTM Nagpur University. He has worked in various administrative bodies in various capacities. So we are very pleased to have you, sir, with us. Now, our resource person for this session is Dr. Nitin Lapsetwar sir. He is Chief Scientist and Head of Energy and Resource Management Division, CSIR National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, NEERI, Nagpur. He is going to deliver his talk on the topic Cleaner Energy and Environment Challenges and Opportunities. So I take this privilege to introduce Dr. Nitin Lapsetwar sir. He is a PhD in chemistry with 35 years of research experience in environmental and energy related research. He has worked as STA and JSPS fellow and visiting overseas researcher at NIMS Subu, Japan, and as visiting professor at Kyushu University, Japan, under the Global COE program. He has also worked as another international laboratories on development of materials and processing, including the low-cost and nanomaterial catalyst for their applications in GHG emission control and automobile emission control, including diesel soot oxidation, cleaner energy generation, climate change, water treatment, etc. He has over 180 research publications with over 7,800 citations, an H index of 46, and I-10 index of 110, and 22 international patents in addition to few contributions in books. He is an identified expert for Central Pollution Control Board of India in the area of air pollution control, and also contribute as an expert to several other national and international agencies. He is an active reviewer for several important journals and also served in editorial boards. His research contributions are recognized through various awards, including Vasvik Award 2021, Dr. Arvind Kumar Memorial Award of Indian Council of Chemists, Distinguished Scientist Award of Indian Association of Solid State Chemists and Allied Scientist, Young Scientist and Convention Award from Indian Chemical Society, Indian Science Congress, Catalysis Society of India, to name a few. So I invite Dr. Nitin Lapsetwar sir to deliver his expert talk. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. So thanks a lot for the kind words and good afternoon to you all. I'll try to share my screen, so please confirm. So can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you confirm if you can see my screen on this slide show mode?
Yes, sir, the screen now open.
Sorry?
The screen is visible.
Fine, thank you so much. Okay. Once again, good afternoon to you all. And because we are running late, so I'm not going to take the name of individuals, but I must say three things. One is I have seen the concept note of this international conference, and I must compliment that that is very impressively written, very nicely written. The second is I would also compliment all the 4 institutions who have decided to arrange this conference, because even if you see the topic of this conference is very, very much relevance. In fact, it's very important. And third, I'm also very thankful to Dr. Mohite for his talk, wherein he has highlighted the importance of NEP and also pointed out the importance of environmental, energy, and other issues. So I'll take lead from here, and I'll try to be a little fast because we are running late. So this is a very brief introduction about the Institute NEERI, CSI NEERI. So for saving time, I would say that you can just go through the website of your institute. And I'm especially highlighting this because many of you may not be aware that we receive around 2 lakh students or more than those every year. Okay, so they are from the school and the colleges. So I would like to welcome your students to visit, and the teachers. In fact, sometimes even the teacher faculties, they visit exclusively without their students. So we work in many areas of environmental science and engineering. And once again, you can just go through the website, and if you want to visit, you can find the contact, or if not, you can even write to me and I'll connect to the coordinator of these visits and arrange for it. So you're most welcome to visit. And this is actually encouraged by the government, and this is a part and parcel of the new education policy. Although a visit is normally very brief, but that also makes the students very enthusiastic and energetic. And once they feel, once they visit us, our exhibitions, they see the things working, they visit our lab and interact with the scientists. So, I mean, they get really encouraged. So please don't hesitate to contact me for any of your students' visit, and they come in large number. So this is how I designed my next 40 minutes or so, because we need to finish, I think, early. I'll skip the science and new education policy, okay, because that has been very nicely covered by Dr. Mohite. I truly appreciate it. We'll discuss bits and pieces, in fact. Now I'll introduce you to the energy environment development nexus, because as Dr. Mohite pointed out, This is no more with the policymakers or the scientists or, like the administrative officers or the teachers or the principal. The students need to understand these things, not in great details, but certainly they should be aware of it. Then they should also be aware of local and global challenges, in fact, and there are ways and means how to make them aware, in fact, because we normally have quite a lot of activities in the colleges, and of course, there are colleges which are very actively and very efficiently conduct these activities, in fact. I'll bring about a few details of energy efficiency in a simple terms, because I know there are a mix of audience here, in fact, and we need to make the students aware beyond their syllabus, which is one of the very important aspects of new education policy. And I'm sure the new education policy, when I was going through it, it's adopted around the world, from around the world, and that change is much required, in fact. Okay, and what are the opportunities? And then briefly summary. So here are a few terms which, in fact, as far as my experience is concerned, I was also afraid of learning and trying to understand that what is sustainable development, what is climate change, what is global warming, what is life cycle assessment. But to tell you frankly, when some of these words were taught to me or explained to me by some people, mostly teachers, in fact, in a very simplified manner, I could not only understand this, what is required in NEP. It is very important to contribute to that. And you cannot contribute unless you understand in a very simplified way, okay? You talk about the invention, you talk about the innovation, you talk about anything. First important thing is you need to understand those things. Without understanding, it's not possible. So I will go by the fact that in my profession as a scientist, and I was involved in some teaching here and there, in fact, and we do have a deep university with CSIR, we call it a ACSIR, okay? Both the things are very important. It's not only that the practical is important or the skill development is important, the theoretical knowledge, the understanding of any subject, I think is the root of anything, okay? So I'm quite sure that many of you are having a lot of experience and more expertise than me. This is for the students who are attending or the research scholars who are attending and those who want to convey to their students. In fact, the sustainable development, we must know actually at the school level, and for college level, for sure, we understand it, okay? We understand completely. There are multiple definitions of this thing, but in a very simplified way, we can say the meeting the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generation. I am a strong believer for explaining everything. We should give a very simple example. You take any example, you take the example of fossil fuel. We say there will not be any fossil fuel after say 100 years or 75 years or 200 years. So how we explain in terms of the sustainability? One, you had enough fossil fuel which you could have used for 500 years, but we rushed and we used indiscriminately. We are using too much of fossil fuel. That's number one, without bothering what will happen after 75 years. Okay, so that's not a responsible use. The second is, we used the fossil fuel, the petrol, the diesel, the coal in a way that we destroyed our environment. And today we are at a stage where they say that it's like threatening of the humanity in terms of the climate change. So these are the two very simple examples. You have got limited fossil fuel. You could have used it in a much responsible way. We could have used it for 500 years, but we have consumed it. हमने उसको जल्दी से consume करने की कोशिश की है. Second is we didn't bother about the environmental aspects, okay? So this is very easy to understand and to explain to the students, okay? You have got limited water in some island, you are using too much of water, you are actually wasting too much of water and you are contaminating water. This is how we explain, okay? Life cycle assessment is an engineering concept wherein we must understand in scientific perspective. If we use something, if we drink a cup of coffee, if I'm using a pen, pencil, or if I'm using a shirt, okay, what is the actual impact on the environment? Because unless we know, we cannot predict. Now, the second important thing which can also be correlated with the education and of course the new education policy, that there are three pillars of sustainability. What I explained you is a life cycle assessment, the fossil fuel look technical. Now, what is the role of social science here, or what is the role of individual in this? Probably Dr. Mohite also touched upon it. Like there are 3 pillars of sustainability. One is environmental protection. We all know about it. We know what is climate change. We know global warming. We know air pollution. We know water pollution. Do you think that that is the only thing which is important? No, not at all. The second pillar is economic viability. So you need to innovate. You need to develop a technology or a solution which should be economically viable. Otherwise, half of the people will not be able to use it. Okay, it is not feasible. The third is a social aspect of it. So it is equally important for the contribution of the scientists or technologists or technocrat, but at the same time, the social scientists are also equally important. So unless we achieve these 3, environmental protection, economic viability, and social equity, sustainability cannot be achieved. So we should be very clear. It's not like some rocket technology will come and take care of everything. Okay, we have got electric vehicle, we have got solar panel, and that will solve all the problems. No, for sure not. So we need to look into the viability or feasibility aspect as well as the social aspect. Now, you need to also explain to the engineering students or even the science students how to, estimate the life cycle impact, the life cycle footprint. I give these 2 examples. One is a solar photovoltaic. We know we get a lot of electricity from coal-based power plant, and coal-based power plant generate CO2. And this CO2 is responsible for global warming. Now, what if I am using a solar panel? And the answer is there's no CO2, there's no environmental footprint. It's a fact that the environmental footprint is down by almost 90% or 95%. But even that will have some environmental footprint. Why? How did you produce solar panel? There must be some high temperature process involved. There must be some raw material. How did you produce those raw material? By mining activity. That mining activity might have led to some environmental problem. So all these makes the solar panel. And what will happen to the solar panel after 20-25 years? It will generate a lot of waste. How to handle that waste? Okay, how much of pollution you are creating? So this is how you should know. The second example is LPG, okay, which is propane. We all use LPG at our home, and quite often I interact with the student to ask, what is the footprint, environmental footprint? Environment को कितना damage होगा, say 1 cylinder of LPG say. So everybody knows that it's a propane and it is 14.5 kg. So they will calculate, the chemistry, chemical engineering students will quickly calculate, sir, 14.5 kg of propane burn in the air or oxygen, it will generate this much of CO2. And I said, that's all? They say yes. No, you need to understand how this LPG is produced. Somebody is extracting crude oil in Saudi Arabia. This extraction needs energy. This extraction pollutes the environment. From there, it is transported from Saudi Arabia to India by a ship. Ship is highly polluting. They pollute marine, like ambience. They pollute air. I mean, they have air pollution and all that. After it reaches our refinery, there is a very complicated refining process, which again produce a lot of pollution. They take a lot of energy. And from Sumatra refinery, the LPG is transported to Nagpur by train. Again, you need energy. Again, you have pollution. In a bottling plant, they use a lot of energy where it is filled in the cylinder. Again, use of energy. From there, it is coming in a truck to your agent, or it is going to Savarda, Chandrapuri, Yatmal, wherever you want. From that agent, it is coming to another mini truck to my place. And in my apartment, they are using my lift to deliver this thing. So at every stage, at every step, there is an energy requirement, there is a material requirement, there is a human efforts. Okay, all that put together makes huge impact. So we should understand and we should sensitize everybody. Now, what is a green technology? Nothing can be purely green except for the natural processes. Okay, natural processes are absolutely green, and that's why they are sustaining over the millions of years. But the anthropogenic or man-made processes cannot be completely green, but we can definitely reduce the environmental footprint. For example, for chemists, green synthesis. Instead of organic solvent, you are using water. So they call it a green synthesis. That doesn't mean that aapne environmental impacts will zero kar diya. No, you are using some temperature. If you're using water, you may be generating some wastewater. You're using a lot of raw material, and raw material means there will be environmental footprint. Okay. So minimum smart or judicious use of resources is what is known as a green technology. And green technology or green chemistry or green science cannot be dealt only with very high-fi science and very high facilities. You develop something or you just modify it. Professor Mohite was talking about the innovation. We sometimes call it a jugaad. If it is backed by science or it is backed by the engineering, there are many, many innovations in your colleges, in your house, wherein we can save water, we can save energy, okay? So then second is the use of sustainable renewable resources, and you should be happy to know that India is very aggressive and very impressive in the use of renewable sources. There are many concepts, okay? Very importantly is social aspects, like the green lifestyle. Like the Prime Minister Modi ji has also proposed that we should work on the lifestyle. And I'll convince you why it can make a huge change if you slightly change your lifestyle. I'm not saying you should compromise in your comfort, but if you make some changes, it will be very, very important for that. So every process and product need to be looked into with a very detailed LCA, but you don't have to do that. Now there is a literature available that how much a kg of LPG will damage the environment and all. Everything is possible now, in fact. Now the question is, when we talk about the opportunities in the context of the NEP or in the context of interdisciplinary, fortunately in CSIR system and especially in NEERI, we are highly interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary. We have everybody. We have people from every domain of science and engineering, almost every domain, I would say. So everybody can contribute towards climate change. Everybody can contribute towards sustainability, towards environmental problems. Let them be chemical, computer science, IT, ENTC engineers. Even in NEERI now we have AI/ML people who are supporting us, chemists, mechanical engineers, biologists, geologists, you name, and there's an opportunity. And I would also encourage that interdisciplinary or collaborative effort should be there. This is a slide where you can't read anything. It says the R&D in climate change, sustainability, and environment needs practically everybody as we are growing. So please keep in mind that don't restrict to your area. If you are interested in environmental science and engineering, you can definitely work. We'll spend a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes about the energy scenario. You know, like if you read the newspaper, you will be a little confused. Why? Because one day you will read about, like the solar energy and hydrogen and wind energy and all that. Very next day, you will read about that the Koradi thermal power plant of Nagpur is expanding. Okay, so you'll get confused at what's happening in fact. Sometimes we talk about the green energy, and sometimes we are saying that we are going to use more. 2 days back, I was reading about the Maruti Suzuki, and they are going to add facility for producing 10 lakh more vehicle, 1 million more vehicle. Okay, so how do you see all these things? Because one way you're talking about the clean, green, sustainable, and one way you're you need to develop yourself. You need to talk about your development also. If you recollect 20-30 years back, if somebody asks you a question, ki electricity or energy ke field mein, what is your expectation? And the straight answer was, we want less load shedding. We want the rural people should have enough electricity. That was a very straight answer, okay? Because we were not having enough electricity or enough energy. If you talk about the energy today, it can easily symbolize pollution for sure, fly ash, NOx, SOx, carbon dioxide, mainly climate change, global warming. Regional conflict, what we are seeing for last more than 1 year in Ukraine and Russia. Before we have seen in Iraq, many other Arabic countries we have seen. Countries' economic jerks. If the crude price is going up, petrol price is going up, the economy is shaken. The energy is so important. It has become strategic. What is strategic? Suppose India doesn't have, say, enough fossil fuel, and our neighboring countries decide that we are not getting fossil fuel from there. What is happening in Europe? Russia has curtailed the supply of gas in Europe, and Europe is in trouble. Okay, so that's why the energy has become strategic. So you need to also think about your own nation in addition to the global. For example, in India, we have a coal reserve which we can use for next 100 years. But coal is highly polluting. Now, because of the global warming and climate change, we cannot use coal in a conventional way. But at the same time, we need to understand that we should have a clean coal technology, and we cannot completely shut down our coal-based power plant, because in case if we are denied energy access, or if we are denied the solar panel, or if we are denied the technology to produce hydrogen, okay, we should have something. So energy has become very strategic issue also. Okay. In addition to that, we need to develop our own capabilities, indigenous capabilities, and for that, it is very important to develop our students right from the schooling and then to the college level. Only then we can achieve, and we need to create that ambience and that atmosphere, in fact. Now, this is all we understand, and we need to explain it to at least the graduate students. What is the energy environment nexus? Energy produces CO2, energy produces many other issues. Energy also produces particulate matter. And if you are aware, there's a huge program going on called National Air Pollution, NCAP, National Mission on Air Pollution Control, wherein a lot of efforts and a lot of investment is going on. Okay. So the government is doing, scientists are working on, everybody is working. But if you can really encourage some kind of innovation through your colleges and universities, that will add to NCAP program as well. One more thing I would like to explain, especially for those who are not aware or familiar with the energy domain. Those who are, please excuse me, it's not really for you. The way we are growing in solar, it looks like that by 2030, we have a target to achieve about 500 gigawatt solar, which is one of the most impressive programs in the world. So it looks like that at least by 2035, we will have all energy coming from the solar, okay, or maybe the 30. Then why should we worry about the climate change or the pollution or all these what I'm talking about? It's not going to be like that. Why? For a simple reason that whatever solar capacity you are adding, okay, you are actually not removing your coal capacity, because your energy demand is growing like anything. Now we are developing actually. Now we are developing. So after 5 years, you have a 500 gigawatt solar. We need 1000 gigawatt energy. After 20 years, if you're targeting 1000 gigawatt solar or renewable, our energy demand may be 1500 gigawatts. So we are slowly decarbonizing, okay? But it cannot be said that in next 10, 20 years, no. So India has a very ambitious target of net zero by 2070. Yeah, that can be achieved. But for that, we need to do a lot, many things. Many things. Like I work actively in the area of cooking energy. You know the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, which was like revolutionary. And within the last say 10 years, the accessibility to LPG has been huge. The use of LPG has been really phenomenal. But still, at the same time, you need to understand that not everybody can buy LPG cylinder. This is known as an energy transition. So everybody, it takes about 10 years, 20 years. So today, I think around 50 crore people are still using the firewood, the coal, and all these things. So it's not going to be all green in next 10 years, despite our best efforts, because the rural people, their energy demand will increase like anything, okay? We should also know that so far, we did not emit CO2 so much. We know the USA, the other developed countries, they are responsible for climate change. We are not responsible for climate change. So it is our turn to develop. It is our turn to provide energy and all the facility to those rural people, poor people. It's our responsibility to improve our education and the health system, okay? Yes, minimizing the impact, but we cannot say that stop everything for the sake of climate change. So this is very challenging, but at the same time, this gives you a lot of opportunities. This is last year's situation of our grid power. You can see here, this is the share of thermal, okay? And this is our renewable, which is increasing. So this green thing can take over this, but very unfortunately, after 10 years, your energy demand will be very high, okay? You know how many air conditioners are sold every day, okay? So we are going to have it. So the message is very clear that fossil fuel consumption will be very significant even during next 2 to 3 decades. In fact, for next 5-6 years, it will increase, okay? Forget about it decreasing. Practically no assimilatory capacity means our environment doesn't have a capacity to take on pollution, okay? there'll be a lot of impacts. So there are two fundamental aspects of environment. One is a greenhouse gas, the climate change, the CO2, the global warming. But at the same time, we cannot ignore the conventional pollution, the particulate matter, the dust pollution, the water pollution, the soil pollution, okay, and their health impact. Now, if you want to see the environmental impact of energy, we need to see in three perspectives. It is not only the energy generation, that आप सोलर लगा लीजिए और आपका पूरा pollution का problem खत्म हो जाएगा, या फिर आप डीजल और पेट्रोल का production ठीक से कर लीजिए. No. How are you going to use this energy is very important, okay? And the energy storage. Now, if you want to give me 5 minutes to explain you what is CO2, what is global warming and the climate change, especially it's important that you should, translate this to your students. You all are knowledgeable, you are aware of all these things. First of all, if you look at the temperature history of Earth, okay, there are like, they call it a thermohaline circulations, the sea, our sea control the temperature of the Earth, in fact, okay? And there have been episodes of change in the temperature, but now it is totally convincing with huge scientific support that it is the high greenhouse gases which are contributing to global warming. Many students ask me, what is greenhouse gas effect? And one student, one very smart student, he was not able to understand the greenhouse gas effect. He asked me, sir, आपको greenhouse gas effect किस age में समझ में आया? And I was very honest कि मुझे बहुत late समझ में आया. Because I used to read and there was nobody to explain actually. So often I give them the example of, or you can give to your students. You are, it's a summer day when you are using your car, और आपने जो car है आपके office से करीब 100 meter दूर खड़ा कर दिया है, say 40 degree में. You came to the office where you are in an air-conditioned room at 25 degrees Celsius. After your meeting, you are walking back to your car. बाहर जो temperature 40 degrees Celsius है. When you walk for 100 and 200 meters, you should get acclimatized to that temperature. Of course, it is really bad for the health. 25 or 27 degrees Celsius से आप 40 degree तक पहुंच जाएंगे जब तक आप कार में पहुंचते हैं. When you open the door of the car, you still feel heat. What does it mean? क्योंकि आपको 40 डिग्री तो बाहर होना चाहिए, फिर कार के अंदर क्यों ज्यादा फील होता है? Because the IR radiations which are entering the car are not able to come out. Same thing is happening with the earth. Same thing is happening with the greenhouses which are mostly used in the Western world or cold countries. India में हम लोग बहुत कम use करते हैं. Nowadays they use a lot of greenhouses. So the sun energy is coming. A part of this energy is going back. Okay. A part of that is trapped with a layer of these greenhouse gases. Okay. Now, if you increase the concentration of it, the energy reflected back is not enough. Okay. And you are getting a warming. There's a counter question कि हम CO2 का concentration आज जो 420 or 430 ppm है, इसको कम करना है, इसे 400 पे लाना है, and suppose we get it to 100 ppm, what will happen? Yes, they will be cooling. So these gases are important. The only problem is we have disturbed their balance in the earth. Now there's a lot of hue and cry that if the global temperature increases by 1.5 degrees Celsius, it will be dangerous. The reason is with 1.5 degrees Celsius, there will be many, many natural and biological processes, okay, or damage, which will be irreversible. Means आप उसको reverse नहीं कर पाएंगे, okay. Great efforts are there. Scientists are working on. We lost a lot of, flora and fauna and animals also, but genetically they are again coming back. Okay, but if you increase by say 2 degree or 1.5 degrees Celsius, it will be very tough. Now, these are the photographs we should show to your students that they are not likely to be extinct. They're lost. They're lost forever, actually. So gone are the days when we used to wonder कि इतनी species चली जाएंगी, उतनी species चली जाएंगी. The hundreds of species are already lost. Okay, we need to take them back. Ice sheet melting, everybody knows. कि Earth के जो caps है वहाँ पे बहुत सारा ice logged है, and because of the global warming, it will get melted. It will have a sea level rise, and all the coastal cities will be affected. Now, this is something very interesting. I found that we need to explain them a concept of biodiversity. I agree with you that physics students or chemistry students may not be much interested or mathematics students, but it is absolutely necessary for them. Absolutely necessary for them to understand these basics. Okay, and there is a provision in the NEP, I always believe, in fact. How to explain them in a simple word? Again, there was a cross question from a student when I was explaining them the biodiversity, or I was actually explaining them the Save Tiger. कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का सेव टाइगर प्रोग्राम है, इसमें हमको टाइगर को सेव करना है. And the question was, or I used to ask the question, that polar bear will be extinct. Now, if you ask the student, have you seen the polar bear? 90% will say, or 99% will say no. And then you ask, if you lose polar bear, what will happen? What is wrong? Let it happen. If you ask even, why should we go for the save tiger? Let tiger die. Okay. We need to explain them that we do not know the consequences of these animals. First of all, we hardly understand. I mean, the biologists in this meeting understand the microorganism, the world of microorganism. So suppose you lose tiger, you do not know what kind of a bacteria is surviving on tiger gut, tiger tongue, tiger skin. So if you lose tiger, we might lose those bacteria. So okay, tiger is gone, those bacteria is gone, we don't care. Because of those bacteria, maybe some other bacteria are going, which are useful for us. We do not know. Maybe the second level transition, because of some bacteria are gone, some viruses may flourish because those bacteria are like bacteriophages and they will control the virus. The moment we hear the name of the virus, we are afraid because we have seen a havoc by a virus recently. So we don't understand, even the scientists don't understand completely the world of biodiversity. If you are losing one grass, one plant, we do not know how it is going to impact the other chain. Okay, so we can't afford to lose anything because these got evolved in the millions of years. And we do not know how to do that. So the best thing, there are hundreds of examples coming up. This bird or this chidia was very common when I was a kid, actually. Now this is gone because of some reason, some pesticides and all these things. So when there is a like attack of locust or tiddy in northern India, the farmer says कि ये जो चिड़िया है वो तुरंत आके at least खा जाती थी 4-5 घंटे में और उसका जो damage था बहुत कम करती थी. Now this bird has gone, this locust attacks are more prominent in fact. One very simple example, but in actual biodiversity terms, we really do not know if we are losing these species in hundreds and thousands, what will be their impact in long term. Okay. So the climate change will have impact on every sector. And if you read the Times of India or many other newspaper, every Saturday there's a beautiful article on this. Okay, so it is becoming a matter of public concern. It's no more a matter of labs and the scientists and the policymaker or the professors. Everybody will be impacted. So it's very common sentence that if you save them, we are actually saving ourselves. As I explained you that we do not know how they are connected in the biodiversity point of view. Okay. This is again from the web TOIN web sources. In fact, on the Saturday series. Okay, they talk about giving accounts of mass extinctions, how it happened actually. There was some reason. Okay, and now they are afraid that once it becomes uncontrolled, okay, it could lead to that. I like this quote from who's known as Mr. Kamleshji Patel Daji actually, that how caring the Mother Earth becomes. And in fact, they say if we destroy the Mother Earth, we are destroying ourselves. He explained that our planet is around 4.5 billion years old. This means we have been here for 0.00028% of the Earth existence. And we feel and we claim that it is made by us. Okay, we reached to the moon and we reached to the other planets and we changed the Earth, Earth. But this is our time on Earth. So you can imagine how it is evolved and what kind of a damage we are doing. We should also tell all the students that if you cut a tree, this is very beautifully depicted actually. If you see the funeral of a tree, all the animals of a jungle is really crying and regretting because they are all dependent on that. Okay. Actually, scientists are even trying to get them back. And these are the things which already are back, but at certain cost. And second thing, we do not know whether they are genetically exactly same. I mean, we know that there are a sizable number of people who do not get clean water, who do not get enough food, forget about the education. How can we afford millions and billions of dollars to regenerate those animals, flora and fauna? So it's completely a very destructive approach that we are trying to not save the things and then trying to recreate and regenerate them. All of these are back. That's good news. But there requires a lot of cost. And the scientists who are working can work on other aspects to find the cancer drug or to find the solution for the CO2 pollution. Now, this is something to do with the awareness of the students. And I again find a lot of emphasis on the NEP, New Education Policy. And I would request all of you, I do a lot of such activities, in fact, with the schools and the colleges, whenever I get time. And you need to tell them that let's try to find out where do these emissions come from, especially the carbon dioxide emissions. It is commonly known as a carbon footprint. There are carbon footprint calculators available on the internet. You can have small clubs you must already be having for your college activities. You can have a carbon footprint club, or you can have an environmental club. If you need any help or any support, I'm there. So we need to find out that this carbon dioxide has become such a big thing, like a coronavirus. Let us try to find out how it is coming and let us try to control it. Okay, it is threatening us that we all will get destroyed. So it's easy to calculate. दिन भर में कि आपने कितना गैस यूज किया, कितनी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी यूज की है, कितना सोलर से यूज किया है, आपने कितना वाटर यूज किया हुआ है, कितना पेट्रोल डीजल यूज किया हुआ है, and try to find out how to control it. The only thing I have sensitized you, what we feel is not like that. Okay, जो footprint होता है बहुत ज्यादा होता है, जैसे LPG का मैंने explain किया हुआ था. For example, if you are using a cycle to go to your college, it's a great thing. You are saving a lot of fuel, you are saving a lot of CO2. But I will give you the same example. You are eating too much, and to maintain your weight, you are cycling in the evening, 10 kilometers. I'm sorry, you are not doing any service to the environment. Okay, nothing. Because here are some calculations. यदि आप 1 माइल और 1.5 किलोमीटर साइकिल चलाते हैं और आपका जो फूड है वो बनाना है, तो आप 65 ग्राम CO2 emit करते हैं. If it is cereal and milks, 90 gram, bacon, which is a non-veg, 200 gram, cheeseburger, 260 gram, and 260 gram or 200 gram, to tell you it is more than a car. Car emits about 180 gram of the CO2. So that's why they say that the lifestyle is very, very important. So eat whatever you like it, okay, but please don't waste and please don't eat too much. Next is a shirt. A shirt has a water footprint of about 3,000 liters. I'm not talking about क्या washing machine में उसको रोज धोते हो. It's a manufacturing footprint. Unfortunately, I'm intentionally showing you statistics of 2014. Over 100 billion garments were produced in 2014. 60% of those were thrown in 1 year. I'm sure many of us are old and we do not throw the garment like that. And our grandfather and father used to use it for years together. But now we throw in 6 months, in 2 months, in 3 months. And we only bother about the money. कि हमने 1000 का खरीदा था, वो ठीक है, वो फेंक दिया हमने. This is the environmental footprint of a garment, in fact, 3,000 liters. And then you can imagine how much we use it for the washing and all that. So we need to be very, very sensitive. Okay, we don't mean that you should not buy, the shirts and the pants every year. You should buy, but the way we are buying is really irresponsible. A new car, we know car में से CO2 emissions कहाँ से आता है, tailpipe में से आता है, engine में से आता है, but we do not know how much of CO2 emissions are there when we produce a car. And now we are talking about the 7 million, 8 million cars will be produced in India. So this is the carbon footprint of what you eat. This is for the veg and this is for the non-veg. And to tell you, this is for a shoe, a leather shoe, 16,600 liters. And if you do not know the water footprint of a cup of coffee or tea, let me tell you, many of you may be aware. In fact, VNIT professor, Professor Sachin Mandagone, has also worked on that. This is also from Professor Sachin Mandagone. Okay, it's his calculations, it's very realistic, science-based. A cup of tea or cup of coffee, tea is about 200 ml. तो हमको लगेगा कि एक कप चाय हम पीते हैं तो 200 ml पानी हम use कर रहे हैं. Okay, it's actually more than 50 liters, and a coffee is about 100 liters. That much amount of water goes when we are growing a coffee plant. Again, I don't mean, or nobody means it, that we should stop drinking tea or coffee. It is made for use. But please don't throw a cup of coffee. If you're throwing a cup of coffee, you're not throwing 20 rupees or 30 or 50 rupees. You're throwing 100-liter water, or maybe more than that. So that we need to sensitize to the people. In fact, nowadays I see some kind of awareness कि आप शादी में जाते तो वहाँ लिखा रहता कि waste मत कीजिए food, and there are some social norms also कि आपको जितना चाहिए उतना ही लीजिए. This is the replication. This I am telling about the tea and the coffee. So एक पूरी थाली भरी हुई है उसका तो 1000-2000 लीटर से कम नहीं होगा footprint. So again, we use it, we enjoy it, we are privileged, but we can't afford to throw. We can't afford to throw even a half cup of coffee in a day, which accounts for 50 liters of water. जबकि हमारा basic requirement है उतना नहीं है दिन भर का. So we need to sensitize about them कि केवल नल बंद करने से या नल का लीकेज बंद करने से नहीं होगा, वो भी equally important है. But there are indirect footprint of water, there are indirect footprint of pollution. उसके through हम बहुत ज़्यादा contribute कर सकते हैं. People don't get even 200 liters of water in a day. We don't need sometimes. Their family को 25 liter लगता है पीने के लिए, maybe 300-400 liter और लगेगा. But you can imagine you're throwing 5 cups of coffee, it's gone. Then the second is how to use energy. Okay, because time is short, I will look for another opportunity actually. But we need to, achieve net zero for our country, for this world, wherein first of all, we need to lower the emissions. For example, invest in green technology. Second, we need to remove the emissions. And then nature is there, our forest is there, which works as a sink for CO2. All this put together, we'll have it. Okay. So efficiency is one thing which everybody is working on. नीरी में हमने 5 साल पहले शुरू किया था ये. आप भी आपके कॉलेज का यदि एनर्जी ऑडिट नहीं हुआ है तो इमीडिएटली कराइए सारी बिल्डिंग्स का. एनर्जी ऑडिट करने के बाद में you get some suggestions. We did the same thing. Okay. Actually, these are some slides which tells you that जो energy हम coal-based power plant से use करते हैं, so we basically waste about 80-85%. Okay, and there are some technological limitations in that. Okay, so Needi mein we started this project about 5 years back. We got a grant of about 1.5 crore. We invested about 70 lakhs. We did many things. We changed all our old ACs and all these things. We got the energy audit done. We have centralized air cooling. And you'll not believe that in this short time, okay, we could save about more than 1,500 or 2,000 tons of CO2. And energy cost saving is close to 2 crore. At least we should be interested in that. So I'll encourage you all to go for the energy audit. Now, there are multiple cleaner energy options. So today, probably we don't have much time to look into those things. This is how we look at the LCO or life cycle assessment point of view. Solar is very clean, wind is clean, nuclear is clean, hydropower is clean, even biomass is clean. But the coal is worst, oil is worst. Okay, so we need to move out of these anything. This is the solar resource map of India. We can produce close to 1,000 gigawatt actually. Fortunately, we are blessed with this, and now the efficiency of PV is also going up. So this is several years back, it was 800 gigawatt. We can do more in fact. This is the manufacturing capacity. We are doing great. Most of the industry and most of the colleges, I see a lot of project based on innovation in the solar technology, whether it is solar thermal or solar photovoltaic or whatever it is. These are things happening and I would say under the purview of NEP, we should do this in the domain of, say hydrogen is difficult. I understand that you cannot work on hydrogen storage per se. You cannot work on the hydrogen generation also. The solar you can do. Not many things can be done in the solar. So I think some other day when all the teachers are there, I can take into more details of these energy things. Yes, we need to also understand that the April, at least in Nagpur, we had only 4 or 5 days which were really hot. Today it is so pleasant in the morning, you cannot use two-wheeler actually. I've seen some people using some kind of sweater at 6 o'clock. So this is already happening, okay? We had huge rainfall in the Marathwada yesterday, in fact, Nanded and all those B district and Latur district. This is April. While my friend from Germany, he was saying that 3 days back, it was 40 degrees Celsius there. I mean, Nagpur should be 46 and the Germany should be 35. Now they are 40 and we are having rains and all this. It is all happening. Okay, the climate change is already happening. I have just two slides probably. What was my experience? I taught as a visiting professor of Kyushu University. Also, I had some 6-7 years of experience with Indian University. I am never hesitant to go and teach in a school or the colleges. And also we have a deemed university. First of all, attitude and intelligence of students and teachers, I would say we are blessed with best of the students and best of the teachers. I'm not criticizing that, I mean, some other country is having a less aptitude, but we are definitely brainy people. But they train their students and they train their brain and they become better than us. But for sure, we have the same. At graduation level, BSc Part 2 students, I found that they are associated with the teacher. Then they are associated with the research scholars. And that kind of aptitude is inculcated in them. Okay. There are many engineering colleges जहाँ पे practice है कि एक teacher को एक 20 student के साथ में connect किया जाता है, which is a very good practice according to me. In Japan, I found the graduate students sometimes get a small cubicle also. So he feels responsible because he's sitting with the PG student, he's sitting with the research student. He has to look after the lab also. He has got a responsibility. Like every Friday, 4 o'clock, all of them will clean the lab. Okay, they will clean. There are no question कि हमारे पास जितने ये रहते हैं, facilities रहती हैं, maids रहते हैं, servants रहते हैं. They have a good infrastructure, and this is one thing. My expectation from the government that we need to invest heavily in the educational infrastructure. In fact, mostly sound in theoretical aspects of science. This is one thing I found. They will not opt for the PG actually, if they are not comfortable in science or if they are not comfortable in engineering. They will not go and forget about the teaching. But in India, the scenario is different. We look for the job and we cannot say anybody, why are you not, why are you looking for the job? This is one different. They provide excellent training on the practical aspects, okay, including by PhD students. So what happens, a PhD student, when they give training to, like the graduate students, unke khud ke concept clear ho jate hain wahan pe. There are many submissions, many activities which will be a part of NEP, I'm sure, which is quite similar to many other developed countries, in fact. Okay. Teachers are very much respected. They're dedicated and they're very much respected in the society. I can tell you hundreds of examples. When I enter the airport with a visa saying, professor, visiting professor, you start getting respect from there itself. Well, right now I'm finding from school to coaching institute to colleges in India and even universities, they're avoiding science practicals, okay, which is disaster. They say कि science practical में corruption होता है, mass सही नहीं मिलते तो बंद कर दो. We have to improve on that actually. And there are a hybrid mode now. There are beautiful softwares which we can show to the students wherever the facilities are not there, okay. But at the same time, at least a demonstration hona chahiye by teacher, at least to the students. So we cannot avoid this. Then very focused on marks and not knowledge, which is obvious actually. We know, I have my son studying in PICT Pune, my daughter is in US. They have all gone through this 10th, 12th and JEE and all competitive exams. So we need to slowly improve that. Okay, the coaching class, I know some people, they say, hamare paas time nahi practical karane ka. And when I convince them by myself taking a class and a practical, कि उस practical को करने के बाद में उनको topic ज़्यादा आसानी से समझ में आते हैं. Then they agreed कि yes sir, you are right. Okay. So student can be molded. In fact, sometimes it is difficult. Much has been done, I would say, but less has been achieved. So NEP is an excellent opportunity wherein government should pour money in the infrastructure and they should strengthen the, like the education system. This I'm showing intentionally. We feel that in Japan, in Japanese university, everything is so good. This is the space constraint they face. Okay, they get earthquake every next week. This is the space constraint, but they are trained to manage the space. It's not like they are privileged in everything. No, we are privileged in fact. This is another example from Professor Avinash Agrawal of IIT Kanpur, who has got 10 such engine dynamometers without a single manpower. Okay, he's a one-man army. Through student he manages. And I found his students are so well trained, you can go lab manage karni padti. I think there's only one technical assistant. I said, 10 setup unke paas mein. In a government setup, there will be at least a team of 10 people, of 20 people. So this is another example. The third example, I recently visited a village in Lodha, Gujarat, wherein At school level, they arranged a drawing competition because we have an Indo-European project and we sort of adopted that school for water conservation and other technologies. And this school in a remote area, I found the students are aware of many things only through these kind of activities. Kabhi drawing banane ko bolte hain, kabhi debate hota hai, kabhi hota hai. And even their teachers were everything, they were aware. Even one of the teachers was aware of the footprint and the LCA. So it's possible. So I'll just stop here by requesting you and pointing out, and I once again, I would say, for me, the teacher is probably the most knowledgeable and most respectable person, and they can only contribute to the development of a nation. So majority of the things you are aware, please excuse me because I have sensitized you that these are the important in environment and energy point of view, and this is for your student, certainly not for you. So energy, environment, pollution, climate change, sustainability are now become very important for students. It's very important not only to make them aware, but make them responsible for such challenges. And I read in NEP that emphasis is given. We have to make them a responsible kind of a citizen, not only in terms of your national interest, but in terms of the global interest in the environment and the energy and the climate change. We should share the lab facilities instead of not going for the practical. Aapke area mein, I feel it. I mean, I beg your pardon that I know there are hundreds of constraints. Okay, there are financial constraints, there are academic schedule and all these things. But wherever possible, I always encourage my friend teachers that yadi ek college mein facility hai, at least you should take the students to that college until you get to the facilities. You can use CSI lab, you can use Atal Tinkering Labs and other national facilities. There are many facilities. So एक तालुका लेवल में एक गांव में यदि एक लैब में कुछ फैसिलिटीज है और we know कि next 5 years it will be difficult, then we should not duplicate and we should have other facilities and we can share that facility. Internet and national resources, there are beautiful resources, so beautiful libraries which should be explored. I also agree that knowledge and skill both are important. If we are too much into skill and we feel that the fundamental knowledge or the subject knowledge are not important, I'm extremely against that. Unless you have a basic understanding of the subject, skill won't help you. But skill can polish and make you employable, I would say. College level activities, despite challenges of student schedule, I will encourage. Interdisciplinary area of research are now even more important, and there are good R&D opportunities, and we need to collaborate. We need to collaborate with the industry, with the national lab, wherever it is possible. So I'll stop here, and I'm sorry I'll take a little more time actually. This is from a very big environmentalist, and you know, like what he says. He says when he retired that he used to think the top environmental problems are biodiversity lost, by explain you, ecosystem collapse and climate change. I thought that the 30 years of good science, we could address those problems, but I was wrong. The top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy. I must, in fact, and to deal with those, we need a spiritual, cultural, and social transformation. And often we scientists do not know how to do that. I must remind you that India is really doing good in this term because we are not the developed countries. Our carbon footprint is less, our environmental footprint is less, but we are heading towards that. And we are 140 crore. Now, you know, all know that we are the most populous country of the world. So it's important for us. So I'll stop here, and I would like to thank you all for this opportunity and compliments once again for having this event organized. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. So now I request Chairman of the session, Dr. S.B. Revatkar, sir, for his remarks.
Good afternoon to all. Sir, am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
It's my pleasure to say few words. Hello. It's my pleasure to say few words on this nice lecture of eminent speaker, Dr. Labsetwar sir, senior scientist from NEERI, on the topic Energy and environmental challenges and opportunities. He highlighted in well manner what is today's need of society, pillars of sustainability, environmental pollution, green technology, interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary concept of new education policy, climate change, loss of biodiversity, carbon footprint, water footprint, etc. He has well explained all the terms and the nice lecture of Dr. Lapsetwar sir. So I giving my sincere thanks to Dr. Lapsetwar sir for such nice comments and nice lecture for the society, for the teachers, students, and researchers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's very kind of you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Now this session is
Now this session is open for discussion.
Anybody can ask questions to discuss.
Sir, I think no questions are there.
No problem, in fact. Everybody must be looking for food now. But they can access me or approach me whenever they feel like. And I truly enjoy interacting with the students and, of course, sometimes the teacher. It's a learning curve for everybody. And anything we interact, especially with the teachers.
Yeah.
We learn a lot. So thank you very much. And all of you are welcome to send your students to NEERI. Okay, thanks. I'll take leave.
Sir, just a
Thank you,
moment.
sir.
Sure.
Now we are here for vote of thanks. I invite Dr. Ashwini Kadu for.
I think you can be brief, or you have already communicated thanks to me. We are already late, so please don't do that. I think let everybody go
Just
for
a
the
short
lunch.
formal vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. It has been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful event. On behalf of our organization, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker of the session, first Dr. Nitin Lapsetwar, senior scientist from NEERI, for their valuable words of NEP 2020. Similarly, I giving my sincere thanks to the chairman of this session, Dr. S.B. Revatkar sir, for chairing the session. Also, I would like to thanks to all participants, scholars, students, faculty members, and dignitaries, which are present in this conference online. Thank you, one and all. Now I invite Dr. A.R. Dobre sir, KDK College of Engineering, Nagpur, to host and conduct next technical session.
Okay, madam, I'll take you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Over to you, sir.
सर काल साहेबांचा फोन आला होता. आधी 8 वाजता होतं आपलं.
सर
Dobre sir, am I
Yeah.
audible to you?
Yes, sir. Well,
Sir, you
sir.
can continue the session.
Hi, hello. Am I audible, sir? I think there is a problem in the audio. Hello.
Sir, you are audible. But your voice is interrupted.
Yes. Am I audible?
You are audible, but your voice is interrupting.
But my audio is working properly. Okay, so can I start, sir, please?
Sir, you can continue.
Okay, okay, sir. So, dear participants, afternoon to all of you. Welcome all for this 2 days international conference on engineering sciences in back of EP 2020, research, decision, and the skill development. This conference organized with the association with Mahavidyalaya Deogram District Nagpur, KK College of Engineering Nagpur, and Sai Baba Art and Science College, Pauli District. The first day of the conference, we are conducting a technical session. Time. And Dr. Doble, Associate Professor from the KDK College of Engineering, feel very that organizing committee of the conference given an opportunity towards technical session. Let introduce resource person as a keynote speaker and my friend Dr. Rajendra Pant. He is a completed postgraduate in mathematics from HNB Dual University in 2000. He has done his research for PhD degree from Gurgaon University, Haryana, 2008. He has published 62 research articles in the different related journals. He is edited one textbook also titled that books ethics and application in the year 2017. Two PhD students awarded his master's project as well. Currently supervising PhD students and postdoctoral students. He is reputed international journals and then our research Africa selected reviewer, the mathematical review. Hello. So he selected a reviewer of the mathematical review of the American Mathematical Society in the March 2015. Recognized scientists of the Foundation of 2000 to 1980. He received full financial support from the DST to attend the International Congress in Mathematics in 2010. He has 21 years of experience of the teaching and research in related institutes like SPRC Postgraduate College, Haryana, SRM University, Modinagar, University of the Petroleum and Energy Studies, Dehradun, Sulu University of Africa, and Visaria National Institute of the Technology, Nagpur, that is VNIT. He is working as associate professor of the South Africa from 2014. Welcome, Dr. Rajendra Pant. On behalf of all institutes are organized in and also on behalf of talk on origin and recent development, which is the one of the important topic of the math. So please.
Thank you, Dr. Dhoble. I hope I am audible to audience.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, so let me.
Welcome again.
Thank you so much. So I'm closely associated to Nagpur. You know that for many, many years since I started working at VNIT, and after that, even after leaving, and I used to be in Nagpur every year. So let me first share my screen. I hope it is visible.
Sir, yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so today, of course, the previous talk was quite interesting. So I got a chance to listen that we must work reducing our energy consumptions and save natures and other things. And I think in this direction, mathematics is one of the subjects where we need less resources, less energy to talk more. So let me start with that motivation. So today I will be talking about metric fixed point theory, origin and recent developments. Of course, it has to do less with the national education policy, new education policy, but definitely in any education policy, mathematics is the core subject, and it is an independent subject which helps all sciences as well as the associated areas of sciences to get developed. So mathematics is an essential part of any kind of research which takes either in biological or other sciences. So without wasting much time, so let me go to the topic. Actually, what I will do is that because the conference is not only for the scholars, but for the students and other people, and people may not be expert in metric fixed point theory. So I will start with some basic concepts, and then gradually I will take you to the modern days problems. So these are the outline of my talk. So I will start with some notations, then I will talk about metric spaces, then normed spaces, and then fixed point theory, general background, some applications, and then some open problems. So here in my presentation, this N will denote the set of natural number, R the set of all real numbers, and C the set of all complex numbers. Let us start with the basic definition. So here we have a distance function. You know that whenever we are talking about mathematics, we start with points and then sets, and then we would like to know how far points are lying from a point is far from one another. So the concept of distance comes in picture, because then in this world, we would like to know the concept of nearness, how far we are from others and how closely we are associated. So that brings in the definition of the metric. So metric is basically a function from a non-empty set, the cross product of a non-empty set to the set of real numbers. And it does satisfy if the following properties A, B, C, D are satisfied, then we say D is a metric. So the distance from a point to another point is non-negative. Distance is if the distance from one point to other is 0, then the points are the same. Distance is symmetric, so distance from x to y is equal to distance from y to x, and then it does satisfy the triangle inequality that says that the length of one side of the triangle is always less than the sum of other two sides. So this is the triangle inequality. A metric space is said to be complete if every Cauchy sequence converges in that. So it means if we have sequence whose terms are getting closer when arbitrary closer when n gets large, then that type of sequence is known Cauchy. And if the Cauchy sequences are converging in the same space, then we say it is complete. So in some sense, everything is there in this space. Now, let us start with some examples. So we have taken the set of real numbers, the simplest example, and we have defined the absolute value metric. So the distance between any 2 points on the real line is actually the absolute value difference taken between these 2 points, and this is a metric. It does satisfy all those 4 properties we discussed before, and with this metric RD is a metric space. Now from R to R square, so if we go in the plane, so then how we can define metrics? So you know that when we are in the real line, or we can consider on a narrow street, then the points are next or in the left or the right. We don't have much to move around, and that's why this metric does talk about this is it is one-dimensional case. But when we are on a ground, then we have points in at least in 4 directions or many other directions. So that way we have taken here R square. So we need to define then the points by coordinates. So we have on x-axis, let's say the coordinates are x1, x2, and y-axis we have y1, y2. So to locate a point in R square, we need to define the coordinate system in 2 variables. So that's what we have done here. And then we get an opportunity to define at least 2 metrics here. And then I will go to the next slide. You will see another one. So here we got D1 xy, and that is coming equal to the absolute value sum coordinate wise difference of x1 x2 x1 y1 and x2 y2. Similarly, we define the max metric, which is the maximum distance between the coordinate wise difference of the points x and y, the absolute value. So these two are metric on R square. The third metric can be defined, and this is called as the standard metric on R square, by taking the distance between the point by x1 minus y1 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square, and whole power is 1/2. So these are the three, but one can define plenty of metrics. If you look at these three metrics closely, and if you go from R square to R, these three will become the same metric D in R. So one can see that on R square, while we have these three different metrics coming in, but on R they reduce to the same metric which we defined here. And this is nice. Similarly, we can go from 2 dimension to higher dimension. So on the n dimensional case, the same way we can define the coordinate wise these metrics. So you will find that the D1 is corresponding to the D1 defined here. Then we have D2, which is the third metric I defined on R square. And then we have D infinity, and that is also going in the same way like we defined on R square. And that way we can continue for the other spaces. Now, because I have just, I would like to use metric, and that's why I define these things. Now let's go to vector spaces. Why we are in vector spaces now? Because we know we started with a set, non-empty set and points, and then we would like to know the concept of distance to know the nearness of points or the closeness of the point in some sense. And then that thing brings the concept of convergence of different types. So now we would like to explore more on the same non-empty set, but whose elements are now vectors, because all physical quantities cannot be scalars. So now we have to go in a bigger domain. So we are restricting the same set with some more properties. So we have elements in that set, and we have considered this set over some field, either real or complex, but you can go for arbitrary fields or maybe finite fields. So that's not a problem. If how this is structured with two operations is called as a vector space. So we have elements u and v in V if their sum is also in V, addition, and then if this sum is commutative and then it is associative. There is an element 0, which if we do addition to any vector, the vector remains same. We have for any vector is the negative vector minus u, such that the sum is going to be the 0 vector. So all these properties, k is any scalar in the field, and ku is also a vector in V. Then we have the left and right distributive properties with regards to the scalar multiple. And then we have scalar k and m, such that it is the in associative multiplication. We have unit element in the field, such that this unit element multiplied to any vector makes the outcome is the same vector. So all these 10 properties are being satisfied by a set with these operations of addition and scalar multiplication. Then we say it is a vector space. So it is a set. We have given some structure. Previously, the set was not having any structure. Only we applied a distance function on that one, and that gave us a metric. Now we have vector space. So can we find a link between vector spaces as well as the metric spaces? Yes. So the summary of the vector space is here, so which I have already elaborated. So now let me tell you some examples of the vector spaces first, and then I will find a link between the metric spaces as well as the vector spaces. So let us start with the n-dimensional space Rn, and we have vectors here x and y. So these are n tuples. So if we define the coordinate wise sum and scalar multiply by coordinate wise, then it does satisfy all those 10 properties of the vector space, and it is a vector space over R. Now, the same way, let's go for the infinite dimensional case. So we are taking the sequence space L2. It is a vector space with algebraic operation. So what type of space is this? Actually, this is a space of all sequences. Either you take real or you can take complex, depending on what type of field you are considering. And the this space this such that the it is a square summable sequences. So if you take the out of a sequence, you form a series, and you take absolute value squares of the series, then it should be summable. So this is that space. Of course, I will come to the norm of this space later. And here also we are defining the sequences in the same the addition and the scalar multiplication is in the same way. Only difference between Rn and L2 here in terms of the vector space is that this is the coordinate wise infinite sum, while it was ending up to nth term. So the motivation comes from R, then you go to R square, then go to Rn, and then if you make n tending to infinity, then you get infinite tuples. And with those tuples, yes, you can form a vector space, and that is here. And this one does not only work in L2, this will work in L1, L2, L3 up to L infinity. The same algebraic operation will form those spaces at vector spaces. Now we go to the function spaces. So I started with real numbers, then with the real numbers I formed the sequences. Now let's talk about real valued functions. So we have a space of real valued functions defined on the closed interval AB. The set of all these functions form a real vector space with algebraic operations. So we have f and g, two functions defined on T. So their sum f plus g operated on T will be equivalent. It will be equal to ft plus gt. And if we multiply by a scalar a and f and apply on T, then it is equal to aft. So if these two operations are being satisfied, then we say, yes, this is a function space. In fact, these two operations are well defined on the set of all real valued continuous functions defined on the closed interval AB. Of course, why we are interested in closed interval? Because the real valued functions defined on closed interval have many good properties, like they satisfy intermediate value theorem, they satisfy many other criterion. Also, this interval has some properties inbuilt such that it works well, like the compactness and the connectedness, as well as the convexity structure is already inbuilt on this interval, while R is not compact. So the closed interval AB is really amazing. So that's why we are using to, that's why this space is also a very well-known and well celebrated space and known as the function space. The example discussed above, what happens actually, if you look at the closely at this way, then you will find that the operation we define cases of vector space may the same time as the metric defined, because I have chosen the same sets. Let us start with the R. I defined a metric, then same way I know R is a vector space with usual addition and scalar multiplication. I then went to R square, I defined some metrics on it, and at the same time it is a vector space. From R, if you go to the sequence spaces by making from nth Rn to infinite dimensional case, then the same operations make it the vector space, and we will find a way to define the metric on them also. So it means these operations, the one with the metric, which was defined as a function on the cross product, and then the vector space defined on these sets have some correlation. So let's find out. And when we find out it, then this gives us many fruitful applications, because if you go in linear algebra, then you will find that many operations like you can see the set of equations, the linear equations and their solutions. We can talk about the existence of the solution. We can talk about the uniqueness of the solution. So those things naturally appear in mathematics. So let's join those things together. And then we land up with the normed space. So what is a normed space? So you have a vector space. Now you are defining a function from the vector space to the set of real numbers, such that the norm of a vector is always equal to greater than equal to 0. Norm of x is equal to 0 when only the vector is 0. the product AX, where A is any scalar, the norm of AX is equal to absolute value of A and norm of X. And then again, the triangle inequality, norm of X plus Y is less than equal to norm of X plus norm of Y. In some sense, we can say norm is telling us the magnitude of the vector. So we have now come to know the vector space, and then we have a norm which thus tells us about the magnitude of the vectors. This norm gives us some more thing. That is, what is that? So we get a metric. So we can define a metric with the help of a norm. So every norm induces a metric. So we have dxy is equal to norm of x minus y. And it is called the metric induced by a norm. A Banach space is a complete normed space. So we have talked about the complete metric space. So if we are in a normed space, and that is complete in the sense that if every Cauchy sequence in this space is converging to some point in the space, then we say this is a Banach space. So now what has happened? We have a vector space. We have equipped it with a norm. That norm is inducing a metric. And this is a new structure. So here we have what was missing in the metric space. You don't have any addition or the scalar multiplication between elements. Now we have equipped the space with some more operations like the vector addition as well as the scalar multiplication. What will happen now? Now let's first look at the examples, and then we understand that what is happening here. So we have n belonging to the set of natural number. I have taken n tuple from k to the power n, means it can be r to the power n or c to the power n. So you can take either the space of n tuples of real vectors or complex. So depending on what type of field you are taking. And then you are defining the vector spaces with the norm. Actually, you are defining the normed spaces, but eventually you will come to know that these spaces are under these norms, these spaces are going to be complete. So that's why these are the Banach spaces. So we have one norm. So it is just absolute value sum of the tuples of the vector x. Similarly, we have defined norm 2, which is going to be square absolute value square sum of tuples, and the whole power is taken as a square root. And then we have norm infinity, that is the max of these values. And you know that all these sums are going to exist because these are finite numbers here, either real or complex, and absolute values will be taken in the way, if you are talking about the complex numbers, then absolute value will have its own meaning there. So in that case, x1 will also have a alpha 1 plus I beta 1, and absolute value of alpha 1 plus I beta 1 will be square root of alpha 1 square plus beta 1 square. So that those are the values here. If we look at the unit spheres on R square formed under these norms, then you will find that the unit sphere under norm 1 is giving you this shape. The other, if we go for with the 2 metric, then you are going to get a circular shape. And if you go with the max metric here, of course, these are the normed, but these norms will correspondingly define the metric as I have pointed out here. So it will give us for any 2 point the distance. Then you will find that the unit spheres on R square will be defined this way. So these are the shapes of so different metrics are different norms are generating different type of convexity or non-convexity type of structures herein. Now let's go to the sequence spaces. So let's start with L1. So in the L1 is the space of all sequences whose absolute value sum is finite. So we have sequence it has infinite terms, x1, x2, x and so on. You can see xj here. And then we have absolute value sum taken here. It is a finite quantity. And then we define the norm this way. The norm 1 you have defined here. This was for the finite numbers. Here you are taking the infinite sum. Because infinite sum here, we are taking only those sequences whose series is having finite sum or convergent series of absolute values. The terms are made absolute value. So this is this norm is well defined, and under this norm L1 is a Banach space. Similarly, on L2 we use the norm 2, And then this norm was just defined here for the finite tuple, but for infinite, it will define in the same way, because we are considering that this square sum is finite. So we have only considered those sequences whose square sum, absolute square sum is finite. And this is also a Banach space. Similarly, we can go for L infinity. This is the sequence of, this is the space of the bounded sequences with this norm. So you are saying that, yes, the supremum value is finite. So it means you have considered all the terms and the maximum value of a term is finite. So it is a bounded. So there is a finite number, which will be the upper bound for this will be the bound for the sequence. So, and this is under this norm, this is also a Banach space. Now, what about, because we have talked about L1, L2 and directly jump to L infinity, what about others? Yes, we can have the same way. L infinity we have already defined, from 1 to p we can define in the same way. So if you take p equal 1, then the case will reduce to this one. If you take p equal 2, then you will find that you will go to the case 2. And if you take p equal any other natural number, then you will get this norm. And this is well defined. And under these norms, all these spaces are the Banach spaces. Now, let's go to the function spaces. So we have the function space CAB, which we defined as a vector space previously, and under this supremum norm, it is also a Banach space. One can go for the space of Lebesgue measurable functions, and there we define the norm as an integral norm. So these are some basic definitions I started with. Now let's talk about fixed point theory. Why it is important to study fixed point theory? Actually, what happens whenever we have a mathematical problem, then there are two aspects of the problem. First thing is that we would like to know whether this problem has a solution. That is called as the existence of the solution. And then we would like to develop some techniques to actually, first of all, we would like to know whether this problem has a solution in this form, or we have to modify the problem in order to get a solution. So that part is called as the existence of the solution. And second part is called that how we are going to develop a technique to find the solution. So once we know the solution is existing, then what is going to be the pathway to achieve it? That is called as the convergence of the solution. So let's talk about the fixed point. So this arises in all branches of the mathematics. That's why the fixed point techniques, especially in nonlinear phenomena, are important. And since 1912 to today, we are in 2023, all these techniques are being used, and new techniques are being developed, because these are very important techniques to study existence and convergence of solution of any mathematical problems. Let X be a non-empty set and T is a self-mapping on the set. A point Z is said to be a fixed point of the mapping T if T is invariant over this set. On this point means we are saying that if we are inputting the point Z, then we are getting output as Z. So that point is known as the fixed point. We have some examples here. So I have taken X equals 0, 1. If I define Tx equal X by 2, then the set of fixed point will be only 0. If I take the same set and I define the mapping Tx equal X square, then the set of fixed point for T will be 0 and 1. Because in the first case, you can see T0 is equal to 0, but no other point is going to be equal to itself. The same thing applies here. If you put here in X square 0, then you get 0. And if you put 1, then you get 1. But if you put any other point like 1 by 2, then you are getting 1 by 4, which is not equal to 1 by 2. So these are the only two fixed points. Now we have another set here, the set of real numbers. And I have taken the translation map Tx equal X plus 1. Then the set of fixed point is empty, because any point cannot be equal to the same point plus 1 in the set of real numbers. So it means we have three situations where the fixed point is unique. The second is fixed points are multiple, and then we have no fixed point. So these are three cases for any kind of mapping can appear, any self-mapping can appear. The study of theory of fixed point is concerned with the conditions under which we can ensure that the fixed points are existing, either unique or non-unique. Now, let me give you the details of some brief details why this problem is important, the fixed point theory problems. In a number of mathematical problems, a fixed point of some suitable operator is the solution of the problem. Therefore, the existence of fixed point is an important area in mathematical and other sciences. In fact, this theory has many applications, not only in mathematics, but in economics. So if we look at the history, then you will find that the Nash equilibrium is one of the classical as well as the modern days problems for regarded to economies of any countries. And we know that the economy is healthy when the demand and supply meets at a point. When the supply and demand is equal, then the economy gets healthy, and that fixed point, that point is known as the equilibrium point, and that point is a fixed point of a suitable operator. Similarly, in physics, the critical point theory is an important theory in phase transitions, and the fixed point the critical points can also be interpreted as fixed points of some suitable operators. Similarly, in fractal theory, fractals means the the type of imaging. If you are cutting the object, then you are getting the same type of shape again and again and again. So all those theories are related to the theory of fixed points. Now, let me start with a polynomial of 2 degrees. So I have x square minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. This equation can be formulated as x equal x square plus 6 by 5. I have shifted 5x in the right and then divided by 5 on both sides. So that will formulate this one. Now we can write it as an operator equation. So we have tx equal x square plus 6 by 5. If we check t2, then it will be equal to 2. So you can put here 2, then you calculate the right hand side. You will find that it will become 2. If you put 3, then it is again coming equal to 3, but T4 is not equal to 4. What is happening actually here? You will notice that 2 and 3 are the roots of this equation, and these are the fixed points of T. So it means this polynomial equation can be again rewritten as a fixed point equation, and then finding fixed points of that operator is equivalent finding the root of the equation or finding the solution of the equation. So it means we can, for a given equation or set of equations, we can equivalently form a fixed point equation in terms of operator, and solving that operator or finding fixed points of that operator is equivalent to the solution of the system. And that's the simplest example. Of course, one can go for the more complex examples where you can go for the transcendental equations or set of equations. So I will take one of them here. Now let's talk about the origin. Actually, origin of fixed point theory was started long before in 18th century with Picard and other people who were doing successive approximations. In 1912, Brouwer gave a very wonderful theorem that says that a self-mapping on a unit ball in Rn has a continuous self-mapping on a unit ball in Rn has a fixed point. The theorem looks simple, but when we go in the proof, then it needs algebraic topology tools to get the proof when we go in higher dimension. N equal 1 is the equivalent to the intermediate value theorem. So that's the simplest case. But if you go in higher dimension, then you have to use algebraic topology. Also, though the theorem is simple, but then it only guarantees the existence of fixed points. It doesn't give you a mechanism to locate the fixed points. Then what to do? So in 1922, the Polish mathematician Stefan Banach obtained a very powerful result, which says that let X be a complete metric space and T a continuous map on X, then if there exists a K in 0, 1, means it belongs to half closed open interval, such that for every XY, this condition, the distance between the images Tx and Ty is less than K times the distance between the points, then T has a unique fixed point Z. Moreover, for any arbitrary point in the space, the sequence of iterate converges to Z. So why this theorem is important? First thing is that it is a very simple one, and it can work in any dimension. So it's not only finite dimensional case. You can take any metric space, any dimension. Only thing is that the contraction conditions needs to be satisfied, and then the metric should be complete. Then the self mapping has unique fixed point. In the Brow's theorem, the fixed point is existing, but it is non-unique. And when the things are not unique, then it becomes difficult to locate fixed points. Here, a simple mechanism is given that the Picard sequence will converge to the fixed point for any arbitrary choice in the space. So you can start with any point of your choice and then iterate it with the mapping. And then you will find that the first iteration x1 will be t of x0. X0 is the initial point you have chosen. And then you can continue iterating the point. Then ultimately the sequence will converge to the fixed point. Is there any? Yeah. Now, this theorem finds many applications. So let's start with a simple application. So we have a system of equations herein. And then we have an n by n system. This system can be rewritten in this form. So what I have done, I have added x1 on the left as well as on the right. And then adding both sides, then I have kept the x1 which was added on the right hand side and shifted this b1 in the left hand side. So you will find that ultimately that x1 will be now equal to this one. You can see that I have added and subtracted same x1, added x1 this side as well as this side. So that way you will find that then you can keep the x1 on the left hand side as it is, and this whole equation in the right hand side with b1. So you will find this will appear this way. Similarly, in the second equation, I have added x2 in the right and left and kept the x2 on the left hand side as it is and shifted everything in the right. So I will get this. And continuing this manner, what will happen? You will find that this equation can be written like this, where alpha ij's are defined by aij's. Aij's are the coefficients here, and delta ij is defined by this. If I is equal to j, it is 1, and it is 0 when I not equal to 0. So this way, the system of equation can be defined like this. So every equation for I to n, because it is n by n system, so you can define it this way. Now, what we are taking, because these xi's are n, because we have taken n by n system, so we have x equal x1, x2, xn in Rn, and c equal alpha ij. This is the matrix being formed by the coefficients of these equations here, the coefficient matrix. Then we can equivalently write it x equals cx plus b, the equation, and then we can write an operator equation tx equal cx plus b. Keep in your mind, this x is the n tuple, c is the coefficient matrix being formed by these coefficients a1, a2, a3. Of course, those coefficients we have rewritten in terms of alpha ij. So this is a matrix being formed. So you are writing it in an operator equation. Now on this operator, we are applying because this is Rn, so I have considered the max metric here, which we defined before. And now we check if what happens, two images, tx and ty. Doing some simple calculation, we will reach to this point. And then if this point alpha, which is going to be the sum of n elements alpha ij, is strictly less than 1, then this inequality becomes the contraction inequality. And because space is complete, so the Banach contraction theorem says that this linear system of equation will have unique solution. Let me also give an example that how we can iterate. So first of all, we have ensured the existence of the solution. So now we know this system of equation will have a guaranteed unique solution, provided this is being satisfied. Means the diagonally dominant element sum is going to be strictly less than 1. Now we find the mechanism that is called as the convergence. So I have an iterative scheme, that is the Jacobi method. So what I have done, I have kept the xi, the kth iterative this way. So let me explain you what is happening here. So from the first equation, I have solved x1 and I have shifted everything in the right hand side. From the second equation, I have solved x2. And from the third equation, I have solved x3. So in this way, I have got a vector, which is x1, x2, x3, the column vector. And that is my x. And in the right hand side, I am getting a matrix here. So that can be treated as an operator of the coefficient metric and these coordinates coming in. Now we have taken an initial guess. So depending on in what domain you are working, you can take the initial guess here. And then now we are iterating them. So we are getting these values for the first iteration. Now we continue this way. Then you will find that in the second iteration, you will get this value. And in the third iteration, this value. And continuing this way, you will find that this will be the solution of the system. After that, it will give you the repeated values, and then you can stop the process, and that will guarantee that will give you the convergence of the solution. So by Banach contraction principle, we came to know, yes, the solution is unique. Now with some arbitrary guess, we can start and iterate, and then by that we can find the solution for the system of equations. Similarly, there are plenty of applications of the Banach contraction principle. Now, in the Banach contraction principle, of course, this is the normed version here. So here I have taken yes. Is there any question? Okay, sorry. So now, if we take k equal 1 in the Banach contraction, then this mapping becomes as a non-expansive mapping. However, the non-expansive mapping need not have a fixed point in a complete metric space. So what is happening? You have allowed k to be 1. So you have enlarged the class of mapping, but then the mapping may not give you the guarantee of existence of fixed point in a complete space. An example is here. So I have taken the set k in the space L1. This is a closed and bounded subset of L1. So every closed subset of a metric space is going to be complete, of a complete metric space is complete. So this set is complete. And if we define the shift operator here, Tx equal this way, the coordinate wise it is shifting. So it is shifting towards the right. So we have the first coordinate is becoming 0, and all other coordinates are being repeated. This is an infinite tuple. So this is a shift operator, but you will find that this map has no fixed point in K. So it means it is a non-expansive mapping. The space is complete, but the existence is not guaranteed. Then what to be done? However, it is possible to guarantee the existence of fixed points for non-expansive mapping by endowing the space with rich geometric structure. We have also seen that if we imply a proper norm on the space, then the structure of the unit sphere gets changed. So for Rn, we have R square, we have seen, if we take the norm 1, then the shape of the unity sphere is different than in norm 2 and then the norm 3 that I have already shown you in the beginning when we define the year. So you can see the shape of the balls are getting changed. Why this is important? So if I join 2 points on the boundary of the first or the last, you will find that any ball containing those points will go outside. But if I join any 2 points in this circle, then any small ball joining containing a point will always lie inside. So any line segment joining 2 points of a circle will always be inside the circle. All points will fall under the circle. But on these cases, what will happen? You will, if any line is joining points on the boundary, then you will find that any ball containing them will definitely go outside. Here it can be kept inside. So that's the difference coming in. So it means the geometric properties are playing important role, though all these 3 metrics were generating same topology on the space. So topological point of view is not working here. Now for that point, we need 2 important properties in the space. So this is the simple property of the convexity. Convexity means you have 2 points and any line segment joining those points is also lying in the set. Then we said the set is convex. Now a Banach space is said to be uniformly convex if all these 3 quantities together imply that this quantity norm x plus y by 2 is less than 1 minus delta. for given epsilon in this one, and there exists a delta such that this is being satisfied. So in some sense, what happens, the line segment joining the points is always coming inside the set. So if you consider any ball containing the point, the ball lies inside. So that is the sense of the uniform convexity here. Example of the uniform convexity, all LP, capital LP with for P strictly between finite P strictly greater than 1 are uniformly convex. In that sense, all Hilbert spaces are the uniformly convex spaces. The another property we are talking about, that is K, a bounded closed convex set, and we are defining a radius of a point with respect to a number. So we have Rxk. So that is the supremum distance coming from between X and Y. So X is the fixed one you have chosen, and Y all other points in the K. A point in X in K is said to be a diametral point if Rxk is equal to the diameter of the set. So you have defined some kind of radius here, and if that radius is equal to the diameter of the set, then we say this point is the diametral point. All of the, if the point is not satisfying this criteria, it means Rxk is less than equal to diameter, because this set is bounded, so diameter is always finite, and this radius cannot be more than the diameter, so it will be strictly less than diameter. Then that point will call as the non-diameter. So you are saying that the points are not falling on the boundary, but they are inside the set, so those are the non-diametral points. A closed and convex set D has normal structure if any bounded closed convex subset K of D with diameter K greater than 0 contains a non-diametral point. Every uniformly convex Banach space has normal structure. So it means normal structure is more general criteria, because we are saying every uniformly convex Banach space has normal structure, but any Banach space having normal structure need not be uniformly convex. Now, the first existence theorems for the non-expansive mappings were obtained by 3 mathematicians together in 1965. So we can see the Banach contraction principle was introduced in 1922. Soon after, people came to know if we put K equal 1, then the things are not guaranteeing the existence criteria for the new mapping, non-expansive mapping. So it took almost 45 years for researchers to get the first existence result. And it happened that coincidentally that 3 mathematicians came to the similar conclusion in the same year. Browder and Godet obtained, let K be a bounded closed and convex subset of a uniformly convex space, then every non-expansive mapping has a fixed point. Kirk obtained slightly different. So he considered K weakly compact convex subset of a Banach space with a normal structure, then every non-expansive mapping K has a fixed point. We have noticed that here we are considering a general Banach space, and we are only considering K weakly compact, while it was a bounded set here, bounded, closed, and convex. Here it is convex and weakly compact. Weak compactness implies the boundedness. So we have a little bit harder assumption on K, but we have relaxed the uniform convexity on the structure by normal structure. So Kirk's result is more general than the Browder and Godet's results. Now, let me just talk about some open problems in this theory. As we have said that the existence of the fixed points for non-expansive mapping can only be guaranteed by these 2 ways. Means either you take the uniform convexity or you take the normal structure. What happens to the spaces where these 2 properties are not inbuilt? So what can we do? So there is a process. So a normed space E is said to have fixed point property for non-expansive mapping if every bounded closed convex subset K of E and any non-expansive mapping has a fixed point. We note that the uniformly convex space and uniformly smooth Banach spaces are reflexive. And if we are talking about the weak compactness, then reflexiveness brings the weak compactness. So it means Banach spaces with normal structure, they have the fixed point property by these 2 theorems. However, uniform convexity and uniformly smooth Banach space are reflexive. So people think that, okay, if the reflexivity is there, then the existence of fixed point for non-expansive mapping should be there. Of course, this is not the case. So what happens to the non-reflexive spaces like C0, L1, capital L1, L infinity, they set the function space C01. So these spaces fail to have FPP for non-expensive mapping. And these each contains an isometric copy of L1 or C0. And example one, we have example above, we have already shown that it is fixed point free. Non-expensive mapping is fixed point free in this space. So the question arises, if a Banach space E has FPP, is E reflexive? Because we have seen either we consider reflexive Banach space with normal structure, then we can guarantee the fixed point, or we take uniformly convex spaces which are also reflexive. So this gives rise to the first question. The second question is that in other way, we can ask the same question in different way. If a Banach space E is reflexive, does E have the FPP? Both the questions have are not, it is not true. It is tempting to try constructing non-reflexive spaces with FPP, but what happened in 2008, Lin constructed a space. He constructed a new norm for L1. L1 is a non-reflexive space, and he introduced a new norm which we call as the norm of Lin. So here he has multiplied a factor here with a sequence defined above here. And with this norm, L1 has the FPP for for the non-expensive type mapping. So this gives rise to a new hope that yes, for non-reflexive spaces, fixed point, the existence for the non-expensive mapping can be guaranteed. But how? By constructing new norms, equivalent norms. So it means because we have seen the structure of the unity pairs get changed by the norm. So it means it has to do something with the convexity property or the uniform convexity and other things. So under this new norm, we will get the new convexity structure, which will guarantee. But this is not all done. So people found different norms. But what happens if we take gamma uncountable and we take the same set with over it, L1 with uncountable set or C0 with uncountable set? This is not happening. This does not give the existence guarantee for the non-expensive mapping. Benavitz proved that every reflexive Banach space can be renormed to have FPP, but then again we have these two questions. Which type of non-reflexive Banach spaces can be renormed to have FPP? For L1, because in a standard case, Lin has already found a solution. Is there any renorming of C0 enjoying FPP? C0 is still unsolved, the space of null sequences. So these are the important problems which are still open and open for more than, I think, 6 decades now. So people can try. Now what we did in 2022, we introduced a new class of mapping. So this class of mapping is here defined. If we take alpha is equal to 0, then this reduces to the non-expensive mapping. So this class we called as C alpha non-expensive mapping, and many classes of non-expensive type mappings are particularly included in this class. And then we obtain these two results herein. So we have K, a non-empty subset of a Banach space, and we have taken X as OPL property. OPL property is the property related to the weak convergence of sequences in Banach spaces, and T is a C alpha non-expensive mapping. If Xn converges weakly to a point and this limit is equal to 0, then the existence of fixed point can be guaranteed. And then the mapping, the identity mapping minus T, I minus T is demi-closed at 0, where I is the identity mapping. We obtain another result in assuming that K is weakly compact subset of a Banach space, X has the OPL property, and T is C alpha mapping. Then T has a fixed point if it admits an AFPS. AFPS means approximate fixed point sequence. So it means this type of sequence we have, any sequence in the space is satisfying this criteria, then we can guarantee the existence of the fixed point for this new class of mapping. So in this way, actually what I would like to convey is these are the references I have used, especially 17, 18, and 19. As we have seen that any mathematical problem has two aspects. One, we would like to know any physical problem can be converted to the mathematical problem. Then we have two aspects to know whether the problem has a solution. So we would like to know the existence part. Once we know that this part is existing, then we would like to know how we can develop a techniques to find the solution. Fixed point theory gives you both the things. Especially in nonlinear analysis, there are no other techniques than the fixed point theory to to solve the problem as it is given. Of course, you can always go and a non-linear problem, you can go in the linearization problem, but then the problem gets changed and you are not solving exactly the same problem, but you are solving approximate solution of the given problem, which may not coincide with the actual solution of the problem. That's why the technique of fixed point theory is more important and very useful to the present context as well. And thank you for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to present my work. Any questions, please? I think Dr. Thoble is on mute.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your nice presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Just a minute. Just two different Rajesh sir, for delivering nice talk on your topic. Now it is a time of question and interaction with those who are understand content like Banach case and construction case, method, non-offensive mapping. So can be connected their Jacobian iteration method, Gauss-Seidel iteration method?
Yeah, one can develop the Jacobi iteration method and Gauss-Seidel method as well as for finding the solution of nonlinear equations. Oh, sorry, the set of linear equations for finding the solution if it is n by the Banach contraction method. And there are other applications of Banach contraction principle for the existence solution for the ordinary differential equations, and then people have extended that to the nonlinear equations, as well as nowadays I can see people have gone for the other type of equations appearing in nonlinear analysis to get the solution. Yes.
Okay, sir. Dr. Rajant was about fixed. So the time for the participant is then equal. Any question from the participant, please? I think no from the.
Excuse me, sir.
Rajendran,
Your voice is interrupting. I think Kavita madam.
Yes, sir.
You should carry on the session.
Okay, I hope it is.
Doble, sir, your voice is not clear actually.
But one thing.
Now I request Dr. S.B. Revat, sir, please give his suggestions or any, if there is any.
From this point, definitely. From
Okay, Kavita madam.
Hello. Yes, sir.
You take over.
Now I request Dr. S.B. Revatkar, chairperson of this session, working as a Dean Faculty of Science and Technology. Please, sir, please, if you have any queries, any
Okay, ma'am.
opinion.
Good afternoon to all. Honorable Speaker Dr. Rajendra Pant, Associate Professor, University of Johannesburg, South Africa. Sir delivered on the topic Matrix Fixed Point Theory, Origin and Recent Developments. He thrown light on matrix, vector space, real value functions, norm space, complex numbers, finite numbers, function spaces, fixed points techniques, Banach contraction theory and its applications widely. In short, sir discussed on the role of mathematics in real human life. So this lecture was so much informative for the students, teachers, and the researchers of the mathematical sciences. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now
sir.
this is the time. This is the time to propose the formal thanks. I have to invite Dr. Kavita.
Thank you, sir. A very good afternoon to one and all present over here. I am Dr. Kavita Bajpayee, KDK College of Engineering, Nagpur, and I am sincerely thankful to the speaker of this session, Dr. Rajendra Pant, and he is very good friend of mine also, working as an associate professor in the Department of Mathematics and Applied Mathematics, University of Johannesburg, South Africa. I am very thankful to you, sir, for taking time from your busy schedule and giving such informative session. And I am very much sure whatever you told in your lecture is really beneficial for all those who are working in the field of fixed point theory. And we cannot forget your contribution in the field of fixed point theory, because I am also from the same field. So I understand your lecture very well. So I know your contribution is very, very important in the field of fixed point theory. I am also very much thankful to the Dr. S.B. Revatkar for chairing the session and sparing his valuable time. I am also very thankful to all the audience, all the participants for their patience hearing and being with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, everyone. I have one announcement
Yes.
for tomorrow. Tomorrow's session will be start sharply at 11 o'clock Indian Standard Time.
Please join us. Thank you.
Please join us. Thank you.
Shall we leave now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, present the session.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think now.
कोणते, sir?
Chalo.